Welcome back to The Watch.
We're live.
Not sure how alive we feel,
Yes.
but we're live on the internet, if that makes sense. Let us know, everyone, if we're coming through loud and clear. Let us know if the sound is on. And we'll get started, because wow! Gosh. Rings of Power.
Episode 6 was, dare I say, unexpectedly awful.
What do you mean unexpectedly awful by now?
Because I was expecting more awful dialogue, things to be promised. Or, I mean, there were things promised and never fulfilled, but, just more blech. But this one was unexpectedly awful because of what things actually happened.
Things were happening and it was all nonsense. I just want to test something right here. I'm going to give you an undescript, wrapped up object that you might... You have an impression that you know what it is, but when I hand it to you, I want you to try and tell me what might be wrapped up in this thing. What do you think is wrapped up in there, Nathan?
I think it's a hatchet or an axe. Or
an axe?
Some sort.
You're telling me it's really easy to tell that an axe might be wrapped up in a cloth?
It's definitely not a sword.
Well, you better reveal and let us...
If it's upside... No, let's have a look.
No. Let's find out. Oh my goodness, it's an axe!
Who would have thunk? See, I didn't have issue with that one, but now you pointed out,
I do! It's like, this is a really important object, you're telling me no one could tell by picking it up?
Okay, no, you're right, because, what's his face? Discount Legolas would have been able to like, hey, this isn't a sword.
The weight's different, like the original one had, like, curved, armor.
You can even just tell from, like,
I
the
know!
weight for an axe is up here.
The first thing you'll notice picking it up is like, hang on a second.
This isn't a sword.
And no one is like, stupid shit. And that's just one thing, guys. One thing. I mean, there is astoundingly dumb things in. This one is not as densely dumb because not as many people were talking in it.
Yeah. There's a part, I didn't make any notes because they were just riding horses.
Yeah. I still had to like, where did they come from? There's a lot of horses there. But, yeah, so I kind of, figured out that whenever people talk in this show, stupidness follows. And there's less talking, so I have 4 pages of notes this time.
Me too.
The thing is, even though, there was less talking, the stupid that does happen is big stupid. We're talking about, like, what? like, even though there's less, the purity of stupid outweighs, the larger quantities in other episodes to the point where that's their plan. That's what that was. Oh, come on.
That was it?
That's it?
That's... What's the correct mean word to say there? Because stupid just seems too kind to them. That was...
My goodness. It's... So, that's kind of the summary perspective of this episode. It's dumb as ever. In fact, you could say it even gets more stupid. There's... Are people going to say this is such a great episode because there's action? The action is...
Stuff finally happened, everyone!
It's so dumb! The fight scenes are also awful. And... Oh my goodness... Gosh, so no, this episode doesn't pick up because stuff happens now, and this show is unbelievable. It's so slow, nothing happens, and when they finally want something to happen, they have people teleport across the freaking world, and suddenly they're there. It takes one night to leave Númenor and get to friggin' Southlands! And they, even on the ship they say it'll take 2 days, and even then I'm like, hey...
3 including the day they left.
And I'm like, hang on, that's pretty quick, even then, right? But they don't even take that long! The show's 1 night passes and they're there, even though in the frickin' show, they say 2 days! So stupid!
Chat, I'm sorry if I didn't put a mic limiter on this. I think I did, but
oh, really?
I feel sorry for you.
Nathan, put on the headphones, we'll check. I'll force Nathan to check the audio just to see, because we do want some... Well, they even say the audio's a bit low, actually. So... How is this coming through?
Only one person has said that.
All right. We're keeping an eye on the chat. Hopefully we'll be all good for you. But this show like is so dumb, and that's just one thing. There's multiple. So this is still in like 1, 2 out of 10 territory. Actually, no, this is like a 1 out of 10. This is so dumb.
If this is what you call a payoff, I'm sorry, but it just led me just gobsmacked. I was just like, that's what we led to?
Yeah, that's it.
6 hours for that?
I know. You forced us through 6 hours of torture for this piddling, floundering excuse of a battle.
I just want to start talking about some of the stuff.
Yeah,
like,
we do. We need to get into spoilers.
Especially the end. Okay,
Oh, holy crap.
hold back, but oh man, there is.
So it's a little bit low unless you're yelling, which is half the time anyway.
What if we bring it in closer? What if we lean in like this? We might. Oh, Nathan's about to turn a knob.
No, that's not right.
Okay.
Those knobs don't work with that.
Yeah. What if we'll come in? We'll come in close, just like this. How does that sound, people? But we will. Hopefully, the audio will be good. There is a way to double check, but
should be alright.
Hopefully, we'll manage. All right, getting into spoilers now. You've been forewarned. This show overall is just utter crap. Doesn't get better. The writing and directing is just unbelievably incompetent. And now we're going to go into the specific reasons why. And we might actually need to bring up the episode.
Yes.
Yes, that might be good. Let me quickly bring this up. Any other thoughts to consider while I bring this up, Nathan?
Look, I'm glad that there isn't any. There was some dialogue that there was really bad dialogue, lots of bad dialogue, but most of it was reoccurring that we've seen and heard before. I didn't see anything too majorly problematic that was new to the episode. Some of it I was actually like, you know what, that wasn't awful.
Oh, really?
There was some parts where I was like, you know, that I'm kind of okay with, but maybe I've just been slowly worn down to accept just poor writing.
Yeah, I wonder, because I would like to know what you thought was possible, Sir Nathan. But we'll bring up the episode now, and so we'll bring up the screen and get into spoilers. And so, of course, previously on, who cares? Though the previously on is the most distinct kind of part of the show.
Just watch that. Every week, just watch
Just
the
a
new
summary,
preview.
or watch our summary. That would do it.
They are right now. All right.
Okay. All right. Here we are. So the episode. Why is it doing that? Don't do that. There we go. Now we're back into it. So the episode begins by showing us a hand fiddling in the dirt. Wow, it's so dark. But he's burying seeds. Why is he burying seeds? Well, we'll find out because of forced plot and relationship.
Also, if that isn't them trying to force a Sauron tease with that gauntlet, I don't know what is.
They've teased the gauntlet a couple of times. And this guy's background and everything like that, I don't really see him practicing an elven tradition like this.
No,
It's like-
especially if he's part of serving the Dark Lord and his heart's
Yeah.
black and evil. He seems very human and respectable considering the dark things he's done, apparently.
Yeah, he might be my favourite character so far.
Yeah.
Like, he actually shows empathy towards other characters. They're orcs, but still, he cares about them a lot
I
more.
mean, he let the elf go.
Yeah, that's true. And he calls Galadriel vile and evil, and I'm like,
Well, this one,
good point.
he calls her out big time and then proves his point right. He's not a bad character.
His plan is stupid. Utterly baffling.
Maybe it's not his plan. Maybe it's just, who knows. But no, you're right. If you heard that plan, you'd be like, you're a bit silly there, thinking that a big waterway would be out.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, there was no context given, and because you get the context way later on in the episode, I was just thinking, what the heck?
Also, the fact that all these orcs are standing there watching as he plants the seed, and this speech he gives.
Are you telling me orcs are watching while he plants his seed?
Hey, I mean, the half-foots, they say keep it down.
I
but
know.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. There's a subtext there. That just, all right. And then, of course, all the orcs have torches. And I'm thinking, I thought they could see in the dark. Do they need torches? I don't know. They're going a bit far with it. But small little observation. The guy from the village is there, you know.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him? Have you heard of Sauron? And it's like, okay, so he kind of knew, or like this is my confusion, right? Mm-hmm. He at least knows now that the only reason why this guy, discount not Sauron, is after the swordy thing. Okay, sorry, the only reason he's after the villagers is because it's after the swordy thing.
Yeah,
and the villager guy kind of knew that was important Sauron thingy, and I'm wondering when he was leaving, why didn't he take that with him? No, Theo hadn't revealed it to anyone at that point.
And yet he knows that Theo has it. He can just be like, hey, kid, let me have the sword for a
Would have
little bit.
solved a lot of issues, and I'm sure this guy would have been very happy about it. He has to trudge all up this mountain, look at this tower thing and all that stuff, when the guy could have just grabbed it. And in the fact, it's weird that he didn't grab it, because it's kind of obvious, like, gonna go pledge my allegiance to this evil Sauron guy. I have an evil Sauron sword. Might be useful.
I'll live with Theo, who's with the elf and the other lady. No, you're right. That's really dumb. For an evil fella, he's not very smart, not very clever.
No.
And this speech he gives to the orcs is so funny. Our enemy made me weak, their numbers meager. Yet, before this night is through, some of us will fall. But for the first time, you do so, not as unnamed slaves in a faraway lands, but as brothers and sisters in our home. Okay, there's so much to unpack that. One,
there is.
He's just like, enemy's weak, there's not many of them, but some of you will still die.
I know! I thought those were reasons why he wouldn't die. It's like, we suck so bad that our weakened enemy in few numbers will still kill some of us.
And then he's like, the fact that now that we're here, or after tonight, we'll be brothers because we're here in this land. Like, we've been here for a couple of months digging tunnels anyways.
I know. No. They've been here for hundreds of years, if not thousands. Remember, we get given a clear time frame because the Mark of Sauron is a map to the Southlands, and it was on Galadriel's brother who died before her quest, a quest that she has been on for, was it like decades? No, not millennia, but decades. Like hundreds of years, at least.
A long time.
And so they've been gathering there for ages, and it's not their home yet?
They're just trying to,
this show does not
recover a speech that started out poorly.
Yeah, this show does not understand time frames at all. Everything is just baffling.
Or travel. Time frames.
Or travel.
Dialogue. Simple dialogue.
It's, oh my goodness. And then when he says they crossed mountain, field, and other places, I'm like, okay, what? And you're telling me no one saw them while they're traveling? Like he implies that they traveled from all that northern area all the way to the Southlands, and no one saw them. Remember, there was not a sign of orcs for like years upon years. It's like I can't be consistent in this at all.
Also, they start chanting Nampat. Nampat. I want to know what that means.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. Who knows? Dwarf.
Dark speech.
Yeah, dark speech.
Black speech. That's
Black
it.
speech.
Black speech.
And he's like, one more trial awaits us. And I'm like, just one more? I'm like, I don't know. You don't have any other plans? Okay.
I mean, once you get the Southlands, you want to take the rest of Middle Earth? You want to go attack the elves? Like, your job's not done here.
Yeah, like he says, they'll reach out to the iron hand of the Uruk and close our fists around these lands. And at this point, it feels like there's no other resistance in the entire Southlands. It's already yours. And like, it really implies that there's no one else apart from like this one little village left. Doesn't seem like a big problem. I think you could say you've conquered it. It's yours. Well done. Job over.
I also don't think the writers understand scale or like the size of groups of people. Because before there was so many, obviously there's still tunnels being dug and they have prisoners there unless they killed them all. But then wouldn't there be other orcs in other places that would go play? Like,
I know.
I feel like in this entire show, once all these orcs are captured and killed in this small group, they're like, all right, we did it. Well done, everyone. Nowhere else to go. No other orcs to discover or to...
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
Right? What they have shown in the show and implied that there are thousands of orcs in the Southlands. That's what they've really heavily implied.
But
And
here it was like hundreds.
it's only a couple hundred.
Yeah.
But especially when we saw, like, I don't know, the marching army with all the torches, that was thousands at least. And I was having a look at the two main parties of orcs in this episode. One group, maybe 150 at most. And then the next group, maybe 50. And so we're looking at a group of 200 orcs. Like, where did they go? There was heaps before. They don't understand scale, time frame, travel. Like, they're so freaking inconsistent. And how are we supposed to have investment and be engaged in the show when they arbitrarily just forget crap that they showed us? They showed us how many orcs there were and implied real heavily. Like, the amount of orcs it would take to dig these tunnels everywhere.
You're right.
It's insane.
There's so many questions.
Oh, my goodness. So, it's just complete crap. And then they're like, yes, we will go and attack. And so they were building up for this big moment where they come to the tower, you know, they're marching on the tower. And I think I might need to just go back. If we could lower the thing and I'll play it forward just so we can find, I wonder if they'll show like a number of the orcs. Because they love those far shots where they show all the torches and things. It doesn't really look like they'll show it in this episode, but it was last episode they did it, and so we'll bring it back up. And so they're marching to the tower, and there was a big build-up last episode that they'll make a defense at the tower, and I mean, makes a bit of sense, you know, it's a fortified fallback position.
You'd think they'd have, you know, a good defense there in a tower that is meant to be defensive.
I know, right? And I want people to pay attention to something, because we're barely a minute into the episode, and what's about to happen made me friggin' flip out. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I'm not kidding. So, they're there. And pay attention as well. Like, if people can see, right, it's a bit dark, but the tower is on the other side of
like a bridge.
A bridge. And this bridge is actually in front of a lake. It's like a dam, and this is a bridge over the dam portion. And on the other side, it's just like cliff face. The only way up this mountain seems to be the road that the orcs arrived on. Pay attention to that, okay? Because it seems like there's nowhere else, and there's not another way down the mountain.
There's no exit. There's only one way in and out.
And the orcs were standing right on that exit. We'll put a pin in that and come back to it. And then they get there, right? And the door's open. It's like, there's no one here. They just walk.
That's a good shot of...
Yeah, okay. That at least shows us some of the numbers. And already, we're looking at maybe 100. So maybe in totality, that's as much as the first one. But that on the other episode, they showed like, they panned down the mountain, and they showed like almost an endless line of orcs.
They showed a lot. And even coming back later when they had like... Because there's some that came with the mountain later when the villagers go back to the village to defend the village.
Well, you got there already, Nathan.
The path zigzags a lot. And so I think to show the scale, they have big zigzags. But then when they actually cluster together, it's like, oh, there's only 50 of them now.
And so, yeah, they get there and the door's just open. So I'm first like, what? This is real. Like, I'm like, are they... It's funny. Even me, I was thinking... They couldn't be this stupid to do what I'm thinking in my head, and they do something even worse, right? I'm thinking, are they actually thinking of like letting them into the Bailey and thinking the Bailey is like a you know, kill zone death trap thing that they fire down? It's like, are you crazy? That just lets him into the castle. You had like a wall and a narrow neck, which funneled them into like, you know,
It's the best defense.
like such a
in
good
the
defense.
situation, yeah.
And
You
then-
had the high ground.
yes, they did. And I was thinking, surely they can't do that. And then they do something so much worse. I couldn't believe it. So they get in. Everyone just walks in.
They have no weapons drawn either. They all just walk in, and this is what I thought, okay, because it looks like they're walking through real estate. Mm-hmm. It's a big open house, and they're like, oh, it's a nice place, isn't it? Because they all just walk up the stairs and look around, they kind of look at their power outlets. Like, there's no actual, like, urgency of, where are they? We're gonna... They all walk in, and even the leader guy just walks in and goes, oh, it's a nice place here. Like, they just stroll in, literally, and they're meant to, like, be raiding this place.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Why aren't they fanning out going crazy everywhere? You're absolutely right. And then Adar, he seems to react like, what's this? Almost like he didn't know this mural was there, which I guess would kind of make sense. If the elves have occupied it for ages, no evil bad guy might have been able to go in to let him know that the exact thing he's looking for happens to be there.
Part of me was like, he's an elf, but then realized that he was a very early elf.
Yeah, he was like an evil elf for ages.
He wouldn't have known that.
So you're telling me that just they didn't cover it up and they just they're letting him in, the evil guy in, to see the very thing that he might not have been able to find. Yeah, even if he had the key, he might not have known where to stick it, right? And it was like, we'll leave it open just so he can
This is a fair point. I didn't think about that. You're presenting it to him. They even cleared the vines before. No, because some of that stuff was hidden last
I know,
time.
it was completely hidden. No one knew it was there.
And then just let's... Yep. All right. Shad's just pointing out more dumb things I didn't realize in my first watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, this show is retarded. And it gets worse. So, where is it? Oh, this guy. This is the time he decides to ask him, if you're not Sauron, where is he? It's like, you were walking over it like you had no other time to ask him this, and you decide to ask him in this really tense moment where there might be an ambush and they're looking for bad guys, the good guys, in this, castle that just opened up to him. It's like, yeah, now's a good time to ask. Oh, by the way...
Because that walk wasn't long enough.
Oh, come on.
But I love how he asks that and then completely butted in by another orc who just says, oh, no one's here. No one's here.
And so, we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Discount Legolas. I'm not going to say what... His plan is to shoot a rope and spring... let's just call it a trap for now, because I can't believe... All right. It's going to shoot a rope and spring a trap. His tactic, the best way to do that, is to reveal his position by shooting some random orcs before he springs the trap. It's like...
Let them know that you're
Discount here. Legolas, you're very bad at your job!
Elements of surprise.
I know, he could have been sneaking there. Silent arrow of spring the trap. But no, it's like, ha, I'm killing you. I'm right here, fellas. Look at me. I'm like, what? Because at this point I think, they're doing it. They're trying to ambush him by letting him into the Bailey. This is stupid. And then, yes, they subvert my expectations because they do something else. Oh, so they're like, so now he's like, Discount Legolas, everyone's after him, and he decides, okay, now's about the right time. I'll set my arrow on fire, aim. If people haven't seen this, right, I want you to pause and just wonder what he plans to do. Like what type of trap could they have set up? Okay, that one arrow could spring, and would it be truly devastating or destroy the army or anything? Right. But I think we need to do this full screen because this is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're gonna go slowly. I have to pause it. Yep.
Okay, we can stuff still. Yep.
All right. So the arrow whooshes, right? And it lands and hits a rope that's attached to a pulley. The rope that's attached to a pulley breaks. It's like, okay, maybe logs or something like that. Now watch what happens. Like, hang on, what? Hang on! Or everything's falling off the tower all of a sudden? No, then surely they're not... No, they can't be that retarded. No, really? And we can bring it down now. Yes. The entire tower collapses from one arrow. Like... What?
My question, so was that entire tower supported by those ropes and bits of wood? That pulley?
That's what they're implying! Who made that tower?
That is awful engineering.
Rod!
Either. Wood rots.
I know. Either they intentionally made the tower to collapse and it's only being held up by flimsy scaffolding and rope and stuff, which is retarded for a tower that they were using for hundreds, if not thousands of years as a watch post.
Also, it's lined up right in the middle of your base, so if that thing did collapse and
I
fall,
know.
it would crush
I know.
everyone inside it.
And a rope. Like, imagine if a rope accidentally broke, right? So either that, or the people who made it are so dumb and stupid that they don't even know how to make a tower stable. It's like, quickly, tie it up.
Duct tape it together, basically.
Exactly. And to stop it from falling over, we'll tie it up in rope. Leading tower Pisa, quickly, tie a rope, hold it from falling over. I can't believe it. But that's it. That's the only logic that you can conclude. I was like, this is I don't think I've seen a more stupid kind of battlement tactic technique thing. What? I mean, and then, all right, let's try and strongman it. They sabotaged the tower so it could collapse. Hey, they had like, what, a couple of hours to make it a massive tower. And this tower, when you build a tower, you usually build them so they don't collapse.
Yeah,
so they're
structurally
sound.
Yeah.
And so it might be really, really, really difficult to bring them down like that.
Apparently not. Apparently within a few
Apparently
hours.
not. They just tied rope around it. The rope will hold it. Then they knocked some stones in the foundation to make it unstable, so it's only supported by a rope. Like, look at how big this thing is. We're talking about like 100 tons more of weight and force, and a single rope is like, if it's ready to fall, and it's like, bull crap. No, this show is complete stupidity. They had a massive tower being held up with rope and branches. Oh my goodness. And then so he jumps down, right? Like the show is playing this off like it's some ingenious thing. He knocks a stone off the thing. It probably would have broken his foot trying to kick it off like that. And then it's attached to a chain. And look at this. Like, what if this big plank of wood fell sideways, like straight, and just got dragged through the door?
That's what I thought too. Because it's
random.
Okay, it's positioned in this way, and then they want it to go down and
then twist sideways.
Put sideways. But what if it just went, what?
Yeah, what if it just, and then it's forward. But they want it to fall down and then turn, slide, like, it's complete random chance. And
what are the chances?
And it's actually more unlikely that it will turn sideways being pulled, because you would need the chain, like, perfectly in the center. If the chain is off center by even like a centimeter, that means there's a different drag of force, and it would just turn.
That makes the possibility of that happening.
Exactly. And even the way it's being pulled, there's a chance the chain like would slide up a bit as it's being pulled, which would make it off center and make it twist and go straight anyway. But they actually want us to believe that it falls so perfectly and gets dragged so evenly that it pulls the doors shut. Get lost, show. Bull crap. Don't make... Oh.
It would have made more sense if he just closed the door.
Yes! And he could have! He jumped down! Shut the door! But
then put wood in between it or
I
something.
don't know. I set up something to, like, lock it shut. Oh. And they already showed the door close, but now it's open, and so he can get a few shots off, and then it closes.
Again. A second time.
This bloody show, man. Come off it. And then he runs away, and they're acting like, he's so clever. The show just thinks, what a great setup, right? And the Orcs are like, now, what do we do? And just watch this tower. So just the entire thing. Like, let's make this full screen so we can see just how hilarious this is. Ready? The entire tower just... the scaffolding, the rope and twigs holding together get busted off with such force that it like impales an orc, ready, just like, oh yeah, there you go. So that orc's dead, and then it just starts to collapse. Stones falling down. Like, imagine if it just fell the other direction. Like,
well, half of it I feel like falls off the cliff.
I know.
Only like a part of it actually falls inside. The rest of it.
I would have laughed so
tumbles
funny
towards the town.
if it just fell the opposite way and is like...
But that's where the villagers were chilling. Because they went out the tower and they're down that little green area and then they walk back down to the village.
But I thought they had left far before this, because they're ages away already.
But still, that tower falls and then it falls down the cliff face.
Makes it an avalanche.
Yes! That, I think, is also dangerous.
That would have been such a better ending to the show. just, and like, it's baffling. I'm like, it's like, what's going on? Are you, like, really? You expect me to believe this? And, yeah, that it falls down. I think I just need to watch the whole, like, let's make this full screen, because he's trying to get Adar away, and Adar's like, I don't run away from rocks.
I've got plot armor.
Exactly. And like, this is the tower coming. Come off it. I mean, and it just collapses like it can't even hold itself up. And so they're really implying it was held up by rope and twigs. And that looked like he got crushed. I don't know how he could have run away from there. But you're right, most of it falls off the side. Mm. And are they trying to play is that what they're saying? Take it down. I can't believe this. Like, see the torches that are down here? And so off to the side right here? Are they honestly trying to say the bulk of the army was down the cliff?
Still.
And gets crushed by this falling tower, and that's what happens to most of the army, which justifies why they only can attack with like 150 orcs? Oh, get stuffed! Bull crap! Come off it!
And I feel like those stones are big enough, and that cliff face is steep enough. The villagers are even further down, which I don't know how they ran into them. Like, they just passed each other somehow. But man, the risk of that avalanche actually happening from that, and then the villagers all dying. Like,
I can't stand bull crap. And by the way, from the torches that we see here, that looks to maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 orcs there. We see the torches, and they don't look to be people in between. And so only a couple seem to be getting crushed here. And look, we see heaps of torches zigzagging on the arms. Make this full screen just so people can see, because it's small. But do you see in the distance there? Those are still, by perspective, that's like 1,000 orcs still. and then we see the villagers. They're all safe. And I'm like, how did they get there? What, they just teleported? They had an underground tunnel cut? There was only one road there and back. Oh, this freaking.
And if orcs are coming on one side of the road and villagers are walking on the other, they're eventually going to meet.
Exactly.
They've got torches there as well.
I know.
You think orcs would be like, oh, look out in the distance, there's some light. Maybe we should go check on that. What that is? No, just ignore it.
This show is full of crap.
Another thing that they mentioned before all this happens is that they say they can't find the elf.
Yeah?
But they weren't looking for the elf.
I thought they knew that the elf stayed behind. I thought this was their plan, really?
But no, as in the orcs.
Oh, the orcs.
When they go in, they're like, we can't find the elf. But they weren't looking for the elf.
Yeah, I thought that
elf didn't have the sword.
You're right.
Like, there's no elf here.
Maybe because the elf has the sword, maybe. That might be what they were doing.
But they, yeah. I just thought they would be looking for the boy instead, because he had the sword. Theo had the sword.
So, this was the villagers' plan. They will abandon a fortified fallback position, a military fortress, a base, like a tower, to go to a village and fight them from there. I can't believe it.
I just can't believe they'd go back there. Because, you know, what if the whole army
I know.
wasn't...
Just keep running.
Yeah.
You're safe and free.
Look, ignore the tower shenanigans there, okay? We'll accept that. But
no, we won't. I won't accept it.
I'll accept it. I won't accept you going back to the village, though, where there could be orcs. They weren't all there. Why go back to the place where Run! Go to Elfland!
The land is overtaken! It's infested with orcs!
Run away!
You idiot! I can't believe it, right? Yeah, we will leave a fortified tower fortress
and
to go to a village! And I can't, like, let's play this out a bit. Let's unpack it, right? So, they had the means to collapse some of the tower. Mm-hmm. Oh, what could they have done, do you think, Nathan?
They could have collapsed the bridge.
They could have collapsed the bridge!
Then they couldn't have gotten there.
Exactly!
And, would have been able to...
and if they wanted to take out a few orcs in the same moment...
Do it when they're on the bridge.
Exactly! What if there was, like, some, you know, like, brave men who's like, alright, we can do it, but it collapses all. It's like, but that means you need to do it and you might get crushed. It's like... I'll do it. You know, who's willing to sacrifice their lives? They imagine some brave, and he's like, I'll do it. And they know they're killing themselves, and I can imagine they could have this epic thing where they had these big hammers. They're knocking out stones on the tower. They're looking up. They're guards, and they have this heroic death. You know, would have been epic. And then the thing is, right? This tower. That means the only way the orcs could try and get in, they have to swim across the river, like making really vulnerable, and they have to climb up, like because the bridge was already on a higher elevation.
Yeah.
And so from the ground to this tower, they'd have to climb up the wall, and so all they need is grab rocks and stones. I wonder where they'd find them. Wait a minute, the tower is surrounded by rock and stone everywhere, and so they could have had this cool moment where, like, all the villagers who can't fight are passing stones one to another, and they're all going up to the people on the walls. They're grabbing and throwing down, get another one, throwing down, and these orcs are getting their heads split open by these rocks pummeling down. It could have been this awesome action set piece, right? And they decide, nah, definitely the best tactic is to leave the fortified tower and retreat to a village. This friggin' show, man. Can't believe it. It's so dumb. So dumb. I couldn't believe. I'm speechless. And I had just wrote several notes. Just, is this a joke? I can't express how dumb this is. Oh. All right. So yeah, that's it. They didn't pass any orcs, and they escaped there. And it's like they seem like now we've bought time. You know what would have bought time? Collapsing the bridge. And also bought time. Hang on, it's only like if they're just so. Let's go through the process of events, right? They only briefly walked into the tower, launched their assault, and they wouldn't have waited till the middle of the night. All they need is the sun to go down, and they're ready to go. Yeah. So we can logically intuit this actually the beginning of the night where this happens, okay? And how long does it take to travel from the tower to the village?
I don't know anymore.
Do we? Well, we have a point of reference. Theo, the kid, he leaves the tower and travels to the village to get food. And back in a day. And so it only takes a couple of hours.
I mean, that's what the other guy said too. It's like days, maybe hours, and then the next minute they're out walking up. But then later it takes them although I think it's the sun thing. Okay, I'm figuring out other things.
But they're actually saying that it takes them... Now, it'll take them so long to reach the village, that'll be daytime, and so they've bought an entire night and a day by this maneuver, when the show has already demonstrated it takes a few hours, like not even a few, maybe 1 hour, to get from the tower to the village.
Yeah, they'd have enough night time to travel back to the village.
Exactly! It's like, just, all right, we can see light at the village. They're probably there. Go kill him. They don't have any fortified walls to protect him anymore.
Just wooden homes. Flammable homes. And they've got lots of torches.
I couldn't believe it. All right. Númenorians. 3 boats. And I'm like, okay, so how long have they been sailing? The content... Well, actually, no. We have when last episode, they hadn't even left. But also last episode, they showed the villagers... Only at the town. So, one night?
One night. It's been one
night.
One night.
And they're like, I don't know. To cross this sea, it should take, weeks, if not a month. But one night. And they're already almost there. And those boats are pretty small. And yet it's supposed to carry... How many horses did we see? Like... Make this full screen. Let people kind of see the size of these boats. We saw it better last episode, but all right, you see them? We can bring it down now. And that's supposed to be like, what, 300, if not 500? Because technically it's supposed to be an army of 500.
Yeah.
Yet they lost 2 boats, but they didn't say they're taking a smaller army. And so these boats seem to be taking 130 men each.
Plus horses.
130 horses, because it looks like there was a horse for every man.
And then you need supplies, food, armor, weapons.
On boats this size? This show is just stupid. Gosh. All right, yeah. Paul, no, I don't believe you. I'm not letting you get away with it. And anyway, Isildur, he wakes up, feeds a horse.
I just find he takes a bite of the apple, gives it to the horse. The horse only takes a big bite, but I would think a horse would just take the whole apple.
Eat the whole apple.
And then...
It's barely...
Like he takes a small bite and like he sort of like takes it and goes, all right, that's enough for you.
And then he like
Takes one bite.
Horse slobber.
Yeah,
Fuck.
gross.
Why don't you just mouth kiss it?
Yeah, but
Open
then
mouth.
But then Isolde goes up deck.
I don't.
Looks at the apple and just chucks it.
That's good food. You're on a sea voyage. I literally wrote that down too. When he threw an apple, I was like, jerk. Waste of food.
And he feels like, oh, horse saliva. Give it to the horse.
I'm sure the horse would have liked it.
It was the most like the only reason. Was that the only excuse I think of? Like, oh, how do we get him up deck? He has to throw the apple.
No, really.
That's what we'll do. He has to go up deck to throw the apple. Because you know when you're driving in the car and you're eating an apple and you got to throw it out the window?
Like
do that.
Maybe an apple core, but he's barely half eaten the apple when he throws it.
It's got 3 bites in it.
I know we're dwelling on this a lot, but
It's done!
this is important, people. You don't let him get away with throwing away a good half-eaten apple.
It just takes out the experience. Because you're like, what normal person would do this?
I know. I like my apples.
Such a waste.
Look at how much apple is there.
That's half an apple right there.
Bring that full screen. This, to people. Do you see how much of an apple is there?
Look at that flesh.
That's a lot of apple.
So much flesh left.
And this ungrateful scumbag throws away a good apple, like half of an apple. It's outrageous.
Apples for the seahorses.
See, bloody unforgivable.
No, really, that apple thing really bugs me.
As it should, Nathan. This is, like I said, this is unforgivable. Bloody hell. Gosh. And then, Galadriel, right? She appears, and they have to make her better than other people. Like, the first scene is like, I can see better than you, basically. One of the first things she says.
I was like, how she's like, why aren't you in bed?
Why aren't you, cow?
Yeah. And I mean, someone has to steer this ship.
I know, there's other people.
You don't know everyone on this ship.
Yeah, what if I'm working?
Yeah.
It's like
But she's just like, oh, you in there? You shit. I can see better than you. But also, okay, here's my question: is the Earth they are on? Is it round or is it flat?
it's actually flat.
Okay, then I'm okay with it. But if it was round,
Yeah.
and she's like, I can see better than you, I'd be like, can you see better than the curvature of the Earth? Because it's flat, I'll
Yeah.
give it a pass.
It becomes round after the second age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just have to make sure.
Good pickup. I've got to keep them on their toes here, Nathan. And then, so it's basically like, I can see, asked what he
And
is.
he's just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got better than 20/20 vision.
And then, what are you? It is like, horse handler. And she says,
I hated it so much.
despise not the labour which humbles the heart. Like, okay, you do it then, Gladys. You need some humbling. Like, really?
Humanity has saved entire kingdoms. The proud have all but led it to ruin.
Are you kidding me, Galadriel? From you? You're saying that? Practice what you preach.
That line!
I know.
I was like,
From her, of all people.
you're giving him advice on being humble? And then she says like, oh, if you're not humble, you destroy everything. Then you're implying you're going to... I'm frothing at the mouth at just how mad that makes me.
I'm trying to think of a line that she says to the guy when it's like, I am glad you have not had to suffer or something like as I have. Like, she's the most condescending, arrogant, narcissistic cow ever. And she has the gall to say, humility. Being humble is so important. She's the type of person who would say, I'm so humble, you should learn after. Like, wouldn't put her past her this time.
But then he's all like, I didn't join this to be humbled.
I know.
I joined it to get away.
Which is like...
Well, that's different from last episode.
Yeah, last episode you said that he wanted to serve Númenor.
No, yeah. Prove myself as a Númenorian. And now he's like, nah, I just want to get away.
Screw Númenor. It's not even Númenor anymore. Are these writers paying attention to their own friggin' show? It's written by different people. It's not even...
I think actually, Shad, that everyone got an episode and they wrote and they had a somewhat brief outline, but then with how much this character's motive changes every episode, they did not talk to each other. I legitimately think it is a writer error.
Yeah, and if you're going to say that he was lying to his father just to get on board, I don't believe that. He delivered it with earnestness that, like, I
And
want
he
to
even
serve
said to
you.
his friends as well, it's like, I want to, it wouldn't make sense as a character. If he wanted to get away, he'd have just gone to the west like he had to begin with. What was the reason for him joining the Navy when he just left the Navy a moment ago?
If you want to leave, just get a little boat and sail away. Just, and then suddenly Númenor isn't Númenor anymore. Like, this came out of nowhere. This sentiment hasn't been shared by anyone, but they're trying to set up that Númenor is now being corrupted and fallen and stuff like that. It's like, this line does not set that up, show. If you wanted that, you had several episodes you could have done that. We're not there yet. You weren't showing that these people, all you did was show them that they don't like immigration and they support Trump, essentially. That's what you showed in the last episode, but you weren't showing them worshipping the shadow or evil Sauron or the actual bad things that Númenor ended up doing that led to their downfall. You're not even there, a fraction. Númenor, I think they start doing like human sacrifice and crap. They go that bad, that dark, right? And it was like an open practice amongst, Númenorians, wasn't it? And so they did not show that. Númenor is not even close to like where they're supposed to be ready for their destruction. It's just they don't like elves. And they didn't even explain why they really dislike elves, because they'll take your jobs, right? Like, no, Númenor, they were jealous of elves for their immortality. And specifically, it gets to the point that they feel humans could have immortality if they could actually travel. I think it's Valinor, travel to the Undying Lands. And so that's what they end up wanting to do, to just go to and where they will have immortality too. It's not like some magic that they think the elves can give them. It's like, well, no, if you're just on this land, you're immortal. Let us live there.
Yeah.
All right? That's what happens. So, again, no setup for that. It's just, we don't like elves.
And take our jobs.
Take our jobs.
But even when she's just like, oh, Númenor, you don't, it's in your heart. It's okay, it's in your heart, Isildur, it's fine.
Númenor's in your heart. And then she says something, you have the look of your father.
How do you know you're related?
It's like,
you don't even know he has a son!
Really? It's like, this is, no, I think he does say that, he says his name. Sorry,
does he?
Yeah, he says my name is Isildur or something.
Yeah, he says
and
Isildur.
she must have known that the guy's son was Isildur and connected the name.
Did she though?
Well, we haven't seen. You're right. We don't see it. But when she says like, "Oh, it makes sense because you have the look of your father," I was like,
so she doesn't know the father has children, because remember he talks about how his son looks this way and the daughter looks this way, and she's got the look of both. Like,
yeah.
But I don't think he mentioned the name in that conversation though.
No, I don't think it does.
No.
But yeah, and so when she says you look at your father, I'm just like, I mean, you have seen these characters. I'm just saying, one does not look like the other. There's some key differences in appearance.
Well, apparently he looks like his mother anyways.
But then he said, yeah, it's like, my father thinks I look like my mother. It's like, yeah, you'd have to, because you don't look like your dad at all. Oh, wow. One page down, this show just keeps going. And so then, Elendil. I get Elendil and Isildur mixed up. I think Elendil's the father.
Yeah.
And then Isildur is the son.
Yeah.
So Elendil arrives. And Galadriel basically asks, "Oh, what happened to your wife?" And then he goes like, "The sun." And look, okay, like he paused enough to warrant that is purposely changing the subject.
Yeah.
And then after this metaphor he gives, she drowned. And he it's like, what?
Yeah, he goes, "It is strange. Most of my life I've looked east to see the sun rise over the sea, and west to see it set over the land. We're sailing into the dawn, and yet to me, it feels like the coming of night. She drowned." And then turns around and walks away. He's messed up. He's messed up. That's not how normal people interact with each other.
No, it's not.
Also, it's funny here. She's waiting with Isildur before to see the land appear, and the land appears, and it's off to the side. But then the sun comes up, and he's like, "The sun!" When he was looking for land.
I know, but you can see the land pretty clearly in the background.
In the side
here.
there, but I don't know.
It would have been prominent for hours.
Again, distracted with you're looking for the land, and then you see the sun, and you go,
"Ooh!" You know what? Someone should have said, like, Galadriel after she drowned. Well, the sea's always right. How do you like saying now? Prophecy is always right. Oh, come off it. But you're right. Like, and then he gives this big weird. And I'm wondering. All right, you said what happened. Why did you did this weird symbolic monologue thing? It's like this show.
It just feels like he's going into the darkness. Because Galadriel, you got to go in the darkness first before you can reach the light.
My goodness. And so then we go to the Queen, and we get some geography.
Yeah.
I found this interesting. So, say it'll take a full day, they even show the map, to sail across the river. So it's a full day's sail into the mountains.
Yep.
Along a river. And when you get to the mountains, and there, another day's ride east into the Vale. And so I was like, okay, let's double check that. And so I looked it up. Because there are maps of, Middle Earth with scales on them and everything. This river is 300 miles long. Okay. So, like, depending on how fast you travel, you could pass maybe 300 miles, depending. But how fast does a ship travel up a river?
Uh-huh.
Well, guess what? I looked it up and I found an average speed. 6 miles per hour is the average. And so it should take them at least 2 days, non-stop, 24 hours
At the constant speed as
at
well.
a constant speed.
If wind dies down or if you get a different current or whatever.
And they would be going against the current, trying to go upstream. So just 2 days, all right? But then, when they get out, because traveling by river is generally faster because you don't have to worry about too much terrain if it's an open, water and things. That's why people traded on riverboats and stuff. Trading
even now
on
they
rivers.
still use boats a lot.
Is an efficient thing. And then, okay, now are they on foot? Yet they're not on foot. They're on horseback. Mm-hmm. Okay, if they were marching, the average army can march about 13 miles per day, and so it would have taken them about a week or something to cross the last 100 miles. Mm-hmm. But then if we say, all right, if they're on horseback, okay, even if they were going at a pretty fast rate, which they wouldn't be able to go pretty fast because of terrain and other issues and everything, still 2 days at least. And so they're at the very least 4 days out when they reach Middle Earth. It should take them a week at least to cross the ocean. But the show doesn't care about any of this.
3 days.
Not only that, it's going to be a night. And,
a night, a day, and a night. Then they're there, basically.
No. Yeah, you're right. It's just... So, yeah, this is bullcrap. He's trying to break... I just love...
He breaks a small hammer and then goes, "It is beyond our skill to destroy."
You tried anything else, mate?
Put it in flames and fire.
I know. Crush it against, get a massive rock.
So many things. He just uses a little puny hammer and says, "No, I can't do it."
Yeah. But it's magical. So even if they did that, they'd say, it's like the One Ring. You'd only need it.
Yeah.
Cast into
just the way he presents it is not very clever.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes to hide it, and he's like, can't tell you where. And then they show Theo who's looking. But we find out where he hides it. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like there?
Bury it in the woods.
I know!
But even hiding it, I think, is very dumb. Because you're losing it from yourself, so it's possible. It's not protected anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And what was my other reason? Well, if you have it on you, at least you know where it is. You can protect it. And it's a lot harder for your enemy. For example, if someone's someone can stumble upon that by accident.
Yeah.
If they, want to renovate the tavern or whatever, they'll break down the foundations and there's a sword, and then you unleash evil again. I just think it's very dumb to keep, and later they want to drop it into the ocean.
I don't know. In the ocean might work.
What didn't what's his face? Gollum find one of the rings in a
river, but an ocean is a bit deeper.
Oh, there's currents and fishes. I just don't think you should just leave this really vital evil tool out in the wilderness. I think it should be protected. You should have an army of elves surrounding it. It's a dangerous weapon.
It is. You're absolutely right. It's very dangerous. But if they were like in the short term, where could they have dumped it? That would be really hard to get to. I'm actually thinking, you know, that massive lake right near the tower that is like really deep, and because you don't have to swim out far to get, like, yeah, take your dinghy or even swim yourself down a couple of 50 meters or so, drop it. I think it'll be really hard to get there, but he decides to hide it in a tavern. So they're filling in, suddenly there's a lot of tunnels around that the orcs have dug.
Also, they put a orc's head on a spike. Where'd they get the orc head?
Agreed.
They killed one orc before, but it was a different orc.
It was. In fact, we see 2 orc heads put on spikes, because I looked at the second head, and it's a different head. I don't know where they got the orc heads.
Just kind of like, let's just bring one orc down, be like, hey guys, I've got a cool idea.
Who knows?
And they also start shoveling dirt into one of the tunnels, and then they like give up and
start putting wood over. Yeah, the wood thing didn't seem too secure. Then they're like, we'll put wood and some rocks on top of it.
Either way, I was just like, this is dumb. Like,
here it is.
You're shoveling. They got these little piles, and they're like trying to like
bury
it up.
It's not really going to stop, an army of determined orcs. And then, holy crap, they're making weapons? Like, it's going to take a couple of days, at least, to finish off a sword. But, it's done.
Nah.
Holy crap. And, look, repurposing farming implements, like size and everything, I could give you that. But suddenly, making them from scratch, okay. That's very fast. And then, so they talk about their plan. Gosh. Yeah, I was a bit blown away by it, because this confirms that they were choosing to fight in a village. And I was like, what? They're doing that? They decided to abandon a fortified, castle fortress for a village. I was like, no, they're committing to it. They do. Oh, sure. Okay. And then he says, our position gives us an advantage. I'm like, no, it doesn't!
How does it give you any advantage?
Compared to what you had!
You're in like a little valley area. Your like houses are made of twig and grass.
It's so dumb.
There is nothing an advantage here.
It's like they have to cross that bridge.
The tiny little bridge.
Yeah, this tiny little bridge. And it's like, they have to... Could we bring this full screen? It's like, that's the bridge they have to cross? It's like, the river's tiny. You can just walk past it and still get over it.
Yeah.
This show's full of crap. And then they're like being, really clever. They're putting like pitch. By the way, this pitch acts like flipping gasoline.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Oh, and then the fallback position. I couldn't stand it, so... Why? So, we'll go slowly. But alright. All who cannot fight will be barricaded inside this tavern. And she says, this will be our keep. I'm like, no! You had a keep! And you abandoned it! And you're like, you really think a tavern will protect you? A wooden stone tavern? They just burn it to the ground from the outside and you're trapped. This is beyond stupid. You know what's really hard to burn? A full stone tower and fortress.
With a narrow bridge.
With a narrow
as its
bridge.
early entrance.
But this gives them a better advantage and will fall back to a wood and stone tavern. Like, that's going to protect you. I can't believe that. And then the show honestly wants us to believe that it takes the orcs all night to bust down that flimsy door on this thing with a battering ram. No. Because not much of the night has passed in the battle, and they have to fall back to their keep, right? Which is a tavern. And then the orcs have so much trouble breaking in that they only break in at the morning when the Númenorians arrive.
Conveniently. My other issue is, right,
suddenly this tavern is more defensive than a fortified castle because it takes them all night to get in.
In these battles, especially the next one we're going to go witness, you kind of think it's real time, but then they cut out these, like, nighttime goes for a long while. Yeah. And somehow it's daytime so quickly, you'd think that the battle would be over a lot sooner than it actually is.
Exactly. It's so dumb. Oh, yeah. So this is what I meant. Like, everything that's actually happening in the show, the logical process of events,
So dumb.
that's all retarded.
Who, like, if I was one of those people who couldn't fight, and like, we're gonna put you in a tavern, crowded in this flammable small building where orcs are running around with torches. No, you're gonna die.
And then Discount Legolas says, "I have seen smaller armies defeat greater ones or great foes."
No, you haven't! We know your full history.
Yeah!
You were a farmer, and then you were a watchman. You've been in no wars. The elves have said for so long now, there are no orcs, no wars, no battles, no nothing. And he's only lived long enough before being who he is now as a farmer. He's seen no armies fight. He's been in no wars.
And then he comes out with that. And I'm like, you have seen the size of the army, have you? I know the show bullcraps, and suddenly the orc army just is just like a piddling, pathetic, group of orcs at the end. But the actual size they showed at this point is like, no, you guys are screwed. You're like facing thousands of orcs at least by what they had shown.
It just makes sense to run.
Yes.
Retreat.
And then the village isn't properly barricaded, all right? They only have one small barricade thing near the bridge, which we see at a distance, but it's not surrounding the whole village. They're not properly armed. They're not wearing armor. And the villagers, how many do you think there are? Maybe 50? Barely that, okay?
And ones that can fight, you probably limit yourself down even then.
Yeah, it's like bull crap. These people think that they could have hope and win. And even, the Rohirrim, the horse riders from Lord of the Rings, right? Even with their well-trained, well-equipped selves in Helm's Deep, they felt they were still in for a tough fight and they would probably lose. These guys were not equipped. They're not even in a fortress. They're in a dinky village. We'll win. We'll beat this army of orcs. You're all dead.
Yeah.
Nerdrotic stream starting to trickle in.
Hey, Nerdrotic, guys. Glad you can join us. Good to see you guys. Hope you enjoyed Gary, and now you can join us. Love to see you. Okay. And I'm like, there's only a pile of rubble trash at that point. I'm like, what would have been really useful to protect yourselves against an army? A bloody fortified tower! That would have been great! They might have, it could have justifiably won with those, advantages, especially taking out the bridge and everything. It actually could have been a cool fight scene.
It would have made more sense than this.
Unbelievable. And I want to, if you could bring this down, because I just want to pause on the part where we see the palisade in the distance. They show it briefly when they're talking. When he says, "Do you believe it?" Remember, it's like, "We'll win." And then Discount Legolas says, "Do you believe it?" Yeah. Do you believe it? No, they don't. Oh, here it is. Bring this full screen if we could, Nathan. We see off over here. Do you see all the way over there? It's not even a proper barricade. It's just a heap of trash that they piled up. Sure. Yeah, that'll do the job. And they haven't, nothing to the side. So if you look over here, there's nothing blocking that side of the village or anything.
It's almost like if orcs, they stick to their paths. They don't go off the trail. Like the Half-Foots.
Yeah. And then they're like, soon the sun will set. Look how overcast and shady it is. It's like, I have a feeling the orcs had no problem walking through. These orcs, even though these orcs have been fine in sunlight and then they're not in fine sunlight, anything like that, but they showed them perfectly fine under overcast, and only when the sun came out from the clouds, that was the issue, right? That's been most of this day. The orcs should already be there. The show has demonstrated the orcs don't mind walking in overcast. And it's overcast. Look right here. The orcs should be already there. But now they're suddenly saying they just don't come out or move at daytime at all. No, show. You're full of friggin' crap. You're contradicting yourself all over the place because you have, separate people writing this who don't understand the context of your own show.
Well, they prove it as well when the Númenors do show up and they have a battle in the daytime. And the orcs are out, they've got their little...
You're right! They fight in the daytime anyway! This bloody friggin' show! Can't stand this! And then the show expects us to believe that the orcs, they just can't move at all during the daytime.
No.
When in the friggin' episode they show it!
As long as they've got their little trench coats, little rain jackets.
Show is so
They're all
retarded. I can't believe it.
And then I love here, she basically admits that, like, yeah, the tavern's defensiveless, like, it's a dumb idea, we shouldn't do this. That's why you're in charge, son. I'm gonna give you this spear, and you're gonna protect everyone.
Yeah, go into the death trap and die with the helpless people.
And this whole... Look,
Oh, yes.
what did you think of this quote, Shad?
I just thought, this is what you tell your kid after he has a nightmare? Really?
Look, as a quote, I don't think it's not a rock sinking, looking down boat, don't drink seawater quote. Like, I think it has some...
Look, but the thing is, it's so forced. So this is the quote.
Yeah.
So basically, the son says, "I'm scared. Will you tell me what you used to tell me when I had nightmares?" And so she says, "In the end, the shadow is but a small and passing thing. Sorry, this shadow is but a small and passing thing. There is light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. Find the light, and the shadow will not find you."
Look, as a kid, sure, I don't think that really...
But the thing is, the
Grasp
shadow in this context does find them.
It does. It
like,
does. And the light, they don't even look for... He doesn't look for... No, he goes to the darkness more, I think.
Yeah.
He wants it more.
I just like, one, the context. Really weird that this is the thing you said to your kid when it was a nightmare. But again, the writers are so inept that they can't think of anything, a better, more justifiable way to have this line injected in conversation, right? And then they have this line, when you apply it to the context, no, this is actually pretty weak source here, but they're desperate to try and get that kind of epic, feel of the light in the darkness kind of thing, It's like when Gandalf says, to Frodo, when Frodo's like, why do we have to, go through these things? Is like, and Gandalf says something along the lines, so do all, or everyone, or so do many people say that who see such times, and it's up to us to, what we will do. And it was a really moving line. It had actual substance to it. Or Sam's line, that there's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. Yeah, it's simple but powerful.
Yes.
And it's not hard. But they're so desperate to, and there's like, oh well, we can't refuse. And then they end up like, there is light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. Find the light, and the shadow will not find you. But the shadow's finding you anyway. So
Or it's just the way that he likes like, hey, you remember when I had bad dreams? And she goes, I remember. You remember what you used to say? You'd hold me in the dark. Would you say it to me now? Oh, you poor baby! And then she says it, and then he's like, okay, farewell, mother. Like, look, maybe I reckon they could save the quote in a way, but the sandwich of the dialogue between that...
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I don't even like the quote. I mean, they're basically saying, if you find the light, or embrace the light, darkness will never be an issue with you. It's like, no, that's the thing. Even good people have to face darkness, okay? Like, embracing the light, goodness, righteousness, either helps you overcome, or it helps you endure or find peace even when darkness does it. Because sometimes darkness and evil does win.
Yeah.
And the consolation of a good moral person is that it's better to die in righteousness than turn to evil and prosper. Okay? That's one of the more wholesome, true messages. All right? But this show's like, I don't know, just you'll be fine. Because nothing bad happens to good people. It's hollow. It's bullcrap. It's like,
Okay, the quote now sucks. I've been convinced.
And then he just walks into the tavern when everyone's still trying to sit up and help the village. I'm like, why are you going in there now? I mean,
It's not nighttime
yeah,
yet.
yeah, you still got time. But he's like, goodbye, mother.
She's like, oh, my son, I'll never see him again.
My son. Anyway, so then we have a scene where, again, like everyone's working, they're just chilling, sitting around, doing nothing now. It's like, you're about to get attacked. It's fine. Just chill. Have a chat.
About seeds. I wonder, is it canon that elves would plant seeds before a battle?
Like, it feels like they just forced it in.
Yeah.
She gave him seeds before, remember? And so if we have a reason to talk about seeds, that will make them feel closer. And so, but do you know the seeds you gave me? We plant them before a battle.
Yeah. And we'll plant the rest after the battle and build a garden together with Theo.
And then they kiss. They get ooh.
Oh, it's so funny that when he's grabbing her hand and like pushing up to the tree, she just goes. It's funny not looking at where you're supposed to, because the show's and also she does the quote that the other evil guy does later or before at the start when she says "new life in defiance of death."
Yes, she does say that.
Quotes it perfectly when he gives her the seed.
So the fact that he said it seems to imply that this is an elven tradition word that you say.
Yeah.
So then why does she know?
How does she know? Again, it's what I thought with the whole Galadriel knowing Isildur, just because somehow she knows without context.
I don't know. Again, I don't think. I think it's just the writers not paying, knowing context, just injecting crap. And then, all right, so there's that, and the orcs are arriving. It's night time, and we see the whole. This isn't really a village. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There have been more comments about the volume being too low when you're just talking.
When we're just talking, I'm not sure we can change too much of it now. Sorry, I'll have to go in. Is there a booster?
I don't know if
Guys, let us know if that just boosted the volume or not. We hope it's not peaking.
We'll see if it peaks, but
What about when I talk now?
yeah, that's nice and loud.
That's nice and loud, but when we're talking
Soft,
normally,
we're gonna be louder.
Sorry, well, hopefully, you can hear us. Okay, so continuing on, and the orcs arrive. We see them, just a couple of torches, and this is that's the amount of orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Like we let's see if it'll show us again, because it is not many. That's it. There was still zigzagging them up mountains and things. All right, people are saying the sound is good. Hopefully it is. We just need to be a bit closer to the mic. Let's lean in.
Yeah.
Can you get closer, Nathan?
If I must.
We'll snuggle in. Let's get in really, really close. Come on, can you get in
Hello,
close?
chat.
How's
Welcome
this?
to ASMR, The Night's Watch.
All right, so okay. Look, actually, there's a decent amount more there. How many you reckon that is?
That's quite a few, but I feel like there weren't that many that eventually arrived.
I know. In the fighting, there's not that
There's
many
not.
in the fight
Especially
at all.
when you look at the villages.
In the actual fighting, there's probably half that at most. I really think, because they're showing vastly more in that shot there, but the actual fighting is 50 to 100 at the very most. So the show is just feeding us bullcrap again. And so, yeah. They let them walking right in. They didn't bother barricading. They're not trying to make a fight at the barricade. They just walk it all in. It's you could at least put up a bit of a stand here, make them fight for the position, and then lay your trap. And oh my goodness, the trap. So dumb. And so... and we see the amount of orcs that walk in. Again, it's 50. There's not a lot. And she has heaps of trouble lighting the pitch on the thing. And the way it goes up when flame touches it...
Yeah, you would think that...
but yeah, for some reason, sparks doesn't set on fire this highly flammable...
But I even think, if it was that crucial to light that thing on fire, I'd have a torch or a lantern or something more flammable than just sparks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have a little candle.
Little
Candle right next to you to ensure it.
They wouldn't see it.
Exactly. Hide the candle, you'd be set. So there's a lot of ways they could have done to solve this problem, and they're only forcing it to make artificial tensions. Oh, what's going to happen?
Also, there's a really awkward part where an orc goes, "Stop! All right, go." To another orc.
Oh, really?
Just to make it oh. Yeah, it's just a jarring thing I saw.
And so the orcs get there. It's oh, who's there? Who's there? And they jump down and attack. So this fight is just so weak. So she jumps out with a sickle.
Shouting.
Ah! Gets his foot. You had the drop on him. like there's a lot of other places you could have killed it, like gotten and killed him. But he just like, you got me in the foot, I'll get you. And this person behind just stands there, not doing anything. He's like, oh, blah, blah, and then just cops it, neck slashed.
Boom.
As like, you could have done something.
She has no weapon. She didn't even run.
Exactly.
It makes sense to run. Like, I don't have anything I can defend myself with. I'm just going to get out of here. But she just stands there and goes, all right, my fate is sealed.
And so falls down. And then, all right. So once again, the untrained, probably not too physically imposing, like physically aggressive, single mother, takes on an orc. And watch this. She just like, sure, okay, yeah. And then she steals the orc's torch, lights it on fire, sets it down, and see, this is their trap. They have a barricade, right? And so the cart races down.
Just the way it races down. If I saw that coming towards me, I'd go, oh, everyone, get out the way.
Yeah, just move.
And I feel like it goes slow enough that everyone could have gotten out the way.
Just move. But then it's suddenly that barricade is just engulfed in flame.
It surrounds them.
But could we make this full screen? So their intention is to trap them behind two burning walls. But I just see a bit of a problem. See, like right here, there's it's open. There's no barricade in. Like it's complete. Sorry.
They can just walk through.
But then they get to try and say us in the next thing that they set that end on fire and the orcs get trapped. And so we'll go forward.
Gary from Nerdrotics here, but he's having trouble super chatting apparently.
Oh, well, Gary, awesome to have you, mate. Glad you could join us. I can't wait to see his review on it as well. After I do this, I'm going to back and chill and watch Nerdrotic. Okay, so the bleeding fools missed us. And then they're like, ha, this was our plan all along. Another card gets him.
Which doesn't go that fast.
It doesn't go that fast.
I feel like a moving car going like 5Ks goes faster than that car did just then.
And so if we have a look here, right? The barricade is there, and all the way over here is the other barricade, right? From there, all the way over here is completely open. And then they're going to try and pretend like this. Suddenly, now there's fire. But no, that was completely open. Just some debris fell down. But it's pathetic. Like, just see this gap here? Just walk through here. It's not stopping you. So I can bring it down again. And what's hilarious that even though now they're trying to say, oh, look, the orcs are trapped. What a clever plan. It's like, you're showing us this big gap here. And then the orcs just kick it down anyway and walk past. Like it's nothing. Great plan. It's so good.
You did it, villagers. You've won. You've won the battle.
Oh, my goodness. So they start shooting arrows, but then they run into, like, a problem in their plan. It's like, because the villagers are like, aren't we smart? We're shooting arrows. But then just a chink in their plan. Oh yeah, they can shoot back because they have arrows as well, you bloody idiots. Wouldn't it have been useful if you had, I don't know, something like battlements? These big merlons that you might be able to hide behind cover and shoot between in the crenelles like a fortified tower. Would have been really useful.
Wouldn't that be nice?
You're forced to just be out in the open while you're standing on top of these rooftops shooting, and you just get shot back and you're dead. These villagers are morons. Oh. And then the orcs basically like, this isn't an issue. They keep shooting all the other villagers, and then just kick it down. It's like, oh, great barricade. That did its job. It's going great. So clever, so smart. I'm riveted by the action when all I'm seeing is just boneheaded stupidity. Villagers, you get what you deserve. You all deserve it. This is your attempt. Oh. Down another page. So, the orcs suddenly stopped shooting back. It's like heaps of orcs had bows and arrows. Why they stopped shooting? But now they're like, oh, we're gonna move forward. This guy, okay, he's an elf. Mm-hmm. Elves, what's one of the most physically distinctive thing about elves?
Physically distinctive. Their long hair, their luscious locks, the pointy ears.
Maybe the pointy ears. Yeah, pointy ears. What do the pointy ears give them?
Great hearing.
Great hearing. Elves are supposed to be really good at hearing.
And seeing things too.
And seeing things.
So if orcs came in front of them and then went around, he would see that. But also, you're right, if they came from behind, he would also hear that. Maybe he's not as good as Galadriel.
Hey, Gary, I just saw your super chat, mate. Thanks. And Gary says, from Númenor, really should have taken a look at the package with the missing sword hilt towards the end. You should, if you've missed it, you should see the opening of this stream. We put that to the test, Gary. I wrapped up an axe and gave it to Nathan. It's like, Nathan, would you be able to figure out what's in this?
I could in a moment's notice.
It was instantly obvious. Instantly. So yes, sir, you're absolutely right. This show is just layers upon layers of stupidity. And so elves are supposed to have good hearing. And you'd think in a battle he'd be like, all the senses would be alert, paying attention. All these orcs are coming in and they have a battering ram, they're trying to get in, and we kind of miss it. I might need to take it down and play it until we see him, because there's multiple times where we see this guy, like the Discount Legolas, get jumped here, basically. So, he's shooting. We'll get there. Sorry you can't see it, but we don't get pinged for copyright. These important things. Did you have any other observations while we're waiting for the...
Well, it's not until we get to the melee fight scene that I just... like,
oh, the fight with the big orc.
does no one have any weapons suddenly?
You're exactly right.
And then he's got armor and just kind of like this goes, ting!
Nathan's a sharp guy. He picks on... yeah, that was the big note. It was like, suddenly... Every time it's convenient, it isn't the first time in this episode it happens, right? It happens multiple times. That's orcs, when they have one of the protagonists at their mercy, suddenly they don't have a weapon.
No one does.
It happened to Isildur's dad. I always get him mixed up. And then also, yeah, you're absolutely right. So the villagers suddenly come in and they have got pitchforks and they're stabbing and fighting. Now the orcs are shooting. I know you can't see it, but I'm just quickly going forward because we're almost there. Here we are. So they're shooting, and if you see like Discount Legolas is over there, doesn't even notice. An orc just comes in, kills one guy, and is like, "Oh wow, where did you come from?" It's like, yeah, great hearing, Mr. Elf. And so he gets in a tussle, he falls down, and he gets up. Oh, sorry, he fights this one, right? Man, he was looking in that direction before. And so he takes out this guy, stabs him through, and he walks back into an orc when he was looking in that direction, and it's like he didn't see. And this orc is a big boy. It's a big orc.
You wouldn't miss him.
But conveniently, this orc doesn't have a weapon or a sword. It's like, he should be dead. Like, he walks back into an orc. So the orc had every opportunity.
Orc should just hug him and just
break it. But no, he should have a weapon and just, he wasn't even
massive
facing
sword,
you.
Hammer, anything. Just
boom. This show, the plot armor in this show is off the scale. I can't believe it. It's like,
yes,
they so desperate to, like, this is the thing. I'm trying to say they were so desperate to keep him alive, but they could have justified in keeping him alive. There are so many ways to make this fight scene play out logically, right? But they're that inept that they're like, no, well, we can't have him die, so we just won't give the orc a weapon. All the orcs, this one orc decides to come into a battle unarmed. Are you friggin' kidding me? Come off it. This bloody show, man. And then, he just throws him. And that's a strong orc. Like, so if he had a sword or anything, he could have chopped this guy in two. He wasn't even facing him. He walked literally into you. So he just... It's unforgivable. It's bullcrap. And again, it's not the only time when this happens. No. And so they like, man,
they tussle,
the fanboys of this show will be like just, you know, going crazy. Like, look at this epic fight when it's all built on such stupidity, right? I laughed at this part, right? He does this big kick, okay? And then he just stands there. He just stands there and he waits and he waits and just lets him get smacked in the head. And when this happened, oh my goodness, it was so obvious. As soon as he starts struggling and is in trouble, I literally wrote, oh my gosh, they're going to have a Deus Ex Machina saved by the single mum.
Yep.
It's so clear.
Yeah.
You see it a mile away. Like, guys, I wrote it right here. It's in bold. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's bold lettering right there. And well before it, spoiler alert, that's exactly what happens. Okay? But it was so obvious. I just like this again. Everything is so bleedingly obvious and bleedingly dumb. It's like, how are we supposed to be invested or enjoy this? It's like, and it's a cheap Deus Ex Machina. Again, someone just coming so conveniently at the perfect time to save his life.
Now, when we get to the eye bit, I want to talk about that because
I do.
I have an example of that actually being good recently.
Oh, really? Okay.
Stranger Things, they have a really good Deus Machina, but like. Anyway, we'll, when we get there, we'll talk about that.
Yep. And so it cuts to other, you know, random fighting, and of course, the guy is struggling. And I tell you what, right? Wow, they get pretty gory here. Like this is beyond a kind of Lord of the Rings gory. Like, this is like Game of Thrones gory. Yeah. I felt this was very out of place to anything that's trying to achieve the same kind of status of Lord of the Rings. This got just gratuitous, edgy, gore, you know, gross out kind of shock factor, and it was cheap.
I think like in Shadow of Mordor, the video games, they're pretty violent, but most of it's just head chopping, which you see in the movies anyways. But the fact that they do close-ups on the eye, it's spurting out on the mouth, and it's getting into his teeth.
Exactly.
It is meant to disgust you.
Lord of the Rings sometimes had a bit of blood. Like there's a couple of decapitations, and one decapitation, I think is in Moria, you actually see kind of some blood spit out, but they cut away really quickly. In this, they not only dwell on it, they give close-ups of blood spurting out of an eye and it getting splayed onto his mouth.
And then a blade getting close to another eye.
I know!
Which is like...
And then this blade coming in close, and they drag it out. And it's like it's out of place. This should not be in something that's claiming to be Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings, as evident by what... Right here.
Yeah,
okay?
like I would not watch this with kids.
No.
Lord of the Rings, I think you can do... In scary moments, you can be like, this is scary, but it's not so much gruesome and graphic, and they're going to be scarred for life watching this. But
this crosses that line.
Like,
this is now not kid appropriate for how gory it gets.
Family. No.
Yeah, this is not kid appropriate for how gory it gets. If we could take it down, because I don't want to actually play it, because we might get struck. Recently, on Shadiversity,
I saw that.
I have a review of the fight scene of last episode, a fight scene autopsy, where I go in, autistic levels of detail, right? And... I show the clip where Aragorn chops off the Uruk-hai's head, okay?
That was what...
I think it was that, because it got age restricted. And I'm like, well, hang on, that's from a PG film, and it's like a pretty clean chop. It's not actually graphic, really. And it got pinged for that. And I was like, you're kidding. Again, it's from a PG thing, and what's frustrating, that clip is everywhere on YouTube, not age restricted. And so I kicked up a fuss.
Yep.
First I appealed it, and they denied it after appeal. So the only way you can do it then is you have to kick up a fuss on Twitter, and only after kicking up a fuss, they took off the age restriction, thank goodness, but it killed the momentum in that video. This here, though, this is something that could get rightly age restricted, because it's gory, right? But anyway, there's close-up scenes, and so just before, so we can bring it back up now, and so there's this big close-up scene of the, knife close to his eye, and then... Yeah, the single mum just, comes out from... You saw it a mile away. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it was so predictable is because it's so cheap. It's like they want a cheap thrill. They want to try and we got you and everything. And it's a hallmark of amateurish writing. bad writing where they can't think of a good way to build the suspense or a good way to have someone justifiably win a fight or anything like that they'll just have someone conveniently come in from the off screen and save you just at the perfect moment. It's that's why it's Deus Ex Machina. It's like he didn't survive through anything he did. It was just some god outside of what you actually were working towards yourself saved you in the end.
I reckon he should have lost his eye.
Yeah,
I think that would have done more stuff, because spoilers for season 4, I think it is season 4 or 5 Stranger Things. There's a really good moment in the finale, right? So this character's been saved before, so you think they've got plot armor. And what happens with these characters is they get possessed and then their bones get all crumpled up and they lose their eyes and it's all gross and gory and stuff. But what happens in the end, one of the main characters, it starts to happen and you think, oh, this happened before. 11's going to come and save them. What happens is she does. But when she goes to her friend, she says, I can't see. My bones hurt.
Yeah.
And so there's this element of oh crap, even though you thought it was a moment of her being saved, her friend can't see anymore, her bones are broken, and there's this element, this fear you have as a viewer now going, next season, that someone could die. They push the line to the Deus Machina to still having risk, and there being fear of you losing your favorite characters. Where in this, since he comes out unscathed, there's no fear at all for the rest of the season for anyone to die. Even later when she gets injured, you know she's gonna survive. Yeah. And you know what? Next episode, probably not gonna even look like she got injured at all. And so, I think you can have elements of Deus Ex Machina, but if you at least have a bit of fear still.
I will agree. You can push the line sometimes, okay? It's when it becomes done again and again, and when you can see it a mile away.
Yeah.
You could have a Deus Ex Machina save if it's properly set up. Because guess what? That's kind of what Han Solo does in A New Hope.
Yeah.
But it was actually set up, and that kind of makes sense, okay? You thought he was going away, but when he comes in and says, of course he changed his mind, and it comes in powerfully, and it works well.
Yeah. And when they do this, we just lose all interest in the story because we know everyone in the end is going to be happy and great.
Yeah.
It's not fun to watch.
And then suddenly, all the orcs are dead. They won. And I'm like, when I was watching this, like, what, really? Where'd the rest of them go? There was heaps of orcs. But we were like, it's the villagers. They're the ones who... And I'm like, hang on. Their plan was to send in a smaller force than what they actually had available for the purpose of having high chances of that force being killed because they wanted to test these people. When you lost orcs as well. I mean, if you just committed your whole force in this attack, you would have won handily. Easily you would have won.
Also, I don't get why these villagers are freaking out that they killed humans.
Yeah, they betrayed you.
Left you for dead, and they came to kill you. They murdered some of your other people. Why are you freaking out?
I know.
They're serving the Dark Lord. I don't understand. They're all like, oh no, Gary.
Not Gary. Gary, we love Gary.
Not Gary. The first thing came to my
sorry,
head.
Gary.
But you know what?
Gary would never betray us.
He would.
He stands with the
but he wouldn't be on this team.
I know. He's smarter than
He would have been like, this is dumb. Hopefully, wouldn't have been in this show.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they freaked out that they were like, oh, it was the other villagers all along.
Yep, and then there's an orc, he's laughing, blah, blah. Then the arrows start to shoot. It's like, yeah, maybe you should have just used your arrows from a distance to begin with. All right? And then she gets shot, and we might need to take it down, because, again, there's a pretty gory scene with the arrow.
Can you just check the scene where she gets shot? Because I was pretty sure she was shot twice.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 or 3,
And
like
then she
one in
has
the
a-
leg.
You know, you're right. I thought
Yeah.
she was shot multiple times
That's
as well.
in my notes.
All right, we need to check this. It's thinking, okay? And it might take us a moment. But, wow. Okay, so the arrows are coming in. So we could probably play this because it's not too gory and we'll go slowly. So there's a guy. He gets shot. Okay, and there's, is it Bronwyn?
Yeah.
So we're going to go slowly. Because you're right. I think she gets shot multiple times. Oh, shields. What a good idea. Shields are useful.
No one else saw that and thought, that's a good idea. They all just ran around like headless chickens.
Yeah, and it's not hard to make a shield. Like, get a door, chop it in half, put a handle on it.
I mean, you got so much junk lying around there.
So, maybe I thought she got shot at that moment, because she falls, but I don't see an arrow in... Oh, no, there's an arrow! Okay. There's definitely an arrow in her there. and I'm not sure if she gets shot again.
In my notes, I swear she had
I thought
2 or 3 times.
Well, let's find out. There's another lady that gets shot. A lot of people are getting shot here, so...
I'll put it down for a bit if you want to.
I'm not... yeah, let's take it down. We'll just play it. So, at the moment, I'm not seeing a second shot. We saw her first shot, and then he comes in and saves her. And maybe, yeah, we just saw it. But it definitely is through her.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it was just one. You're right, like, strange editing, because I kind of thought multiple got shot as well. Maybe it was a different person.
Again, that's an issue with editing then. If we all thought that she got shot more than once, then that's a...
Yeah. Some lady probably got shot that looked like her first, and then...
Yeah, okay. I'll put it back up.
All right, and so... Oh no, they're getting shot. Retreat to the thing. We actually have to take it down because the taking the arrow out scene is another bloody gory scene where they show the blood spewing out of the wound.
And the sun has to...
And look, I'm not against gore, right? I think sometimes it can work really well in a thing, but it's out of place for Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings just felt a bit more family friendly, you know? But this isn't Lord of the Rings, as proven by this scene as well, because, yeah. So there's that whole scene of them taking the arrow out.
Look, I had a little bit... Okay, I don't know if you're going to call me out in this chat. A little bit of a like, oh, moment when she's laid down and then she says, tend to him first.
I thought that was just, like, he's obvious dead. It's just, they injected it to make her look how altruistic she is.
It worked on me.
It was cheap. I think, like, if someone was alive, if it was a child, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But the person was clearly looking dead, and if not dead, looked old and more feeble than her.
But no,
and that person was dead, by the way.
Yeah. Then they turn back like, oh, he's dead now.
Cauterizing with the seeds of the elf seeds, like, okay.
Don't understand.
Magic seeds help with cauterization.
Yeah, this is...
Okay.
Ugh.
And so, the attack, you would assume, would have been launched when the sun went down. And it has, like, not a lot of time has passed. We kind of saw the whole attack. So I'm thinking maybe, 9 o'clock at night?
Yeah, like
10 at latest?
It's been like 1 hour of this fight as well. This is not a long battle.
Mm. And then, these are the orcs trying to break in. They have a full-on battering ram. Let's bring this up, right? And it's a flimsy door. And we're expected to believe that it takes them all night to bust through. Get lost. Don't give me that show. Oh, bullcrap. Because, you know, it cuts from this. Them trying to bust the door down to... and look, the door's already broken in like that. That's one of the first hits.
And mind you, it is still pitch black nighttime here.
Mm-hmm. Pitch black.
It is dark.
And then next scene. What's this? We got... It's the morning and suddenly... morning now. And the Númenorians are just charging over the hills. And holy crap, that's a lot of them. Where were they on the boats? You're telling me, like, bring this full screen, right? Look at how many horses there are.
3 boats for all of that.
3, like, oh, get lost. Stuff you, show. I don't believe you. And look how, this is the shot in the trailer. The horse armor just looks so plastic.
Mm.
We can bring it down.
I
Oh,
love Galadriel's face around the horse again. She has really good...
Yeah. She loves those horses. Hey, they hit the spot.
She just does not look comfortable.
That did actually, yeah, that wasn't a happy face. The armor looks so cheap. Anyway, so they're riding across, and suddenly we're supposed to believe that, oh, okay, they're busted in now, and it's that amount of time has passed. No, get lost. We don't believe you. And then anyway, he comes in and is like, "Tell me where it is." He's like, where he wants his sword, and he starts killing people, right? And look, I kind of like Adar. He doesn't mess around, you know. It's like, tell me where it is, and I'll tell him. All right, kill one. No, not all right, kill another. You know, he gets things done. He's the most proactive character in the show, it seems.
True, he does progress things forward.
And then the son says, don't kill my mum. And it's like, I think that's believable and fair. But they play it off later like, I'm sorry, I betrayed someone. It's like, dude, it is your mum.
Yeah, you did it to save your mum.
Like, I'm kind of with you on this one here. You don't need to feel guilty about it.
But also, I just think, like, if orcs, like, stampeding through this building, basically everyone should be dead.
Yeah. But they're using it as leverage to find out where the sword is. And I was surprised the sword was hidden here. Because, like, if you actually hid it in the forest somewhere, that would give you a bit more time.
Why would you hide it under where all the people are staying?
Okay, because the show just wanted the reveal, I guess. And I thought the kid might have done something ballsy here. Like, he would have been cool, right? If the sword actually wasn't there, it was a misdirect. And so as he's opening it up, there's something else hidden there. But he has now a weapon, a pokey thing. And he was justified in picking it up because he had to pry it open. And now Adar's right close to him. Yeah. How cool would it have been if he just bang right through his throat? And he's like, you threatened my mum. It's like, oh, I would have loved that. But the show doesn't have the balls or creativity for something that cool. It's actually, no, it is the sword. And then they hear a rumbling. It's like, what is the rumbling? The water's, vibrating. And the Númenorians are here. It's like, I can't believe it. They basically teleport across the globe. I mean, think about how long it took Frodo to get from Rivendell to Mordor, right?
A long time.
That was a long journey, right?
That was 3 movies.
And the Númenorians travel across an ocean, up a river, and then ride across a mountain range. This is like the Mordor mountain range, right?
Also, would they have had to go through the tower and then across the bridge and down the pathway?
The tower wasn't... Was the tower like a path, like a passageway to the...
I'm not
I
sure.
thought it was just a watchtower at a really hard to get to spot.
Maybe.
But now we know the watchtower is actually... basically, it's a dam and it functions... It has a pretty practical function as it has an overflow mechanic to let water out of the dam when needed.
Yeah.
Why would you make an evil Sauron-y thing mural with this weird evil Sauron sword as a key to just let water out of a dam? I'm so confused and baffled by that whole setup. Right?
Like, can you imagine Lex
serious?
Luthor being like, yes, we'll have an evil plan for Superman. We'll build a dam. Put my big face on it.
Yep, I'll have an evil key to let the water out at a,
That's how evil they can make Sauron.
and the water, it wasn't like dumping all the water out. It was just a heavy flow. It's like, when a dam, when it's like, dams do that when they're really overflowing and they have it open all the way. And it just would have caused a fairly strong river. But they try to make it out. We'll get there. I can't believe... I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Well, no, you know me. I'm not speechless. I've got a lot to say on that. But before we get there, Númenorians have just teleported. And what led us in that... Mordor has a massive mountain range, okay? And, I mean... I don't know how much of the land changed in when Sauron turned it to a hellscape, but it seems like one of the only entrances was a big open gap where they put the Black Gate on. Okay? And so the only other way is these treacherous mountain passes. And that gate, right, it's further up. We actually saw a map of where the tower is, and it's a bit lower down on the mountain range. And to get to where the Black Gate was, you'd have to go all the way over, and it'll give you an extra day or 2 riding just to pass by it. Actually, it would probably increase the journey to almost 300 to 400 miles, I'd say, just out of the way, because you've got to go up. I was judging the 100 miles in a straight line from the end of the river to where the tower is, but there's a friggin' mountain range in the way! How did they get here so quick? It's such bullcrap. But they're here, and oh my goodness. The fighting, there's so much stupid things in this, Nathan. They have a chain.
A stretchy chain.
A chain just magically increases in length. Oh my goodness. And where did the rest of the orcs go? This is all that's left?
Also, I'm just confused about how they stumbled upon this village, luckily, when orcs were attacking
it. How did they know they were here at that village?
Because there were other villages around.
Exactly! All they knew was was that Sauron had like orcs in the Southlands. It's a very large area. How do they know they were getting attacked at this?
In this one village where they'll... And then the only survivors in this area. Everyone else has been destroyed.
Right.
Conveniently, Númenorians came just as the orcs were about to end them all.
This is such convoluted bullcrap. And you know what? It wouldn't have taken too much like to enter this, right? Mm-hmm. Because one of the logical things to do is get the hell out of here. Have people running away. And then and because there's a mountain range, one of the only ways in is you would probably cross and pass people in one of the only entrances into the Southlands, which is Mordor. Where are you running from? Orcs are attacking. Where are they attacking? Oh, the Elven Tower. But no, the show is just it's full of convoluted crap. They don't pay attention to logistics, logic, passage of time.
What it takes to travel to the dwarves.
The consistency is just complete crap. But anyway, they're there. They're just there.
I love how the orcs now are wearing their little sun coats.
I know, right? It's like they didn't need it before.
Even though it's overcast anyways.
And remember, like, they took a whole day, they let a whole day pass to not travel to this village and attack because they can't go out in daytime when, look, it's overcast. Just like it was overcast the previous day.
They could have done it yesterday.
This show can't even remain consistent with itself. And suddenly there's barely any orcs here. And the show is trying to play this off as this grand epic battle. It's barely a skirmish against maybe 20 orcs now. And you have an army of 300. It's like, this is the big battle? You're supposed to, like, really? This is such a wet rag, disappointment, pathetic, they just run into chance. Of course they chance. They outnumber him massively. This is the big battle. Really?
Wet rag is a really good way to describe
really
the show.
Is.
Just
This show is a wet rag. It's pathetically boring, and it's not epic in scale or grand, and they had a huge budget. They could have done something really cool. We'll get there, right? Because the guy, what's his name? Adar, is like, Waldreg, I have a task for you. This is their setup. He's getting Waldreg to do something important because now they have the sword, right? Sure, we'll get there. So anyway, Númenorians coming in.
See, look, they follow the pathway. Everyone just. I mean, it makes sense if you're going to go into the bridge, but I don't know.
Like,
those horses could go past the bridge. They could travel into that.
And so they just come in, and of course they wipe the floor. And again, I'm wondering, where the hell is the rest of this orc army? Like they threw in maybe 100, in this first thing, and it was more like 50, and they got beaten by the villagers, and then arrows came in, and you're thinking, this is the rest of the orc army. They have a much larger army, held in reserve, and they just sent in the village people that joined them to die because they're happy for their own orcs and resources to die. And so everything that's set up is then, okay, the larger army has now spent an entire night to break into an inn for some reason, and now where the hell is it? Like, we see the numbers of the orcs, and there's barely any of them. This show is crap. And then this is the big epic fight, and it's disappointing, right? And here is the magically increasing chain thing. I saw this in the trailer, and it's so dumb. Should we make this
one big just so people can see the extent?
Yep.
Quite literally.
Ready? And look, do you see the chain here, right? Like here to here. Okay. That, if they lengthen that out, and look, they're holding it. They're holding the chain in their hands, okay? And so if they stretch it out, it could probably go from, at most, tight from here to here. But suddenly, it just, and it's still going! They only release it there. Actually, have they released it? Because the chain goes down here. It's all slack. What? And I don't even buy that it would knock over so many orcs. If they're holding it by hand, okay? What's holding you in the saddle? You're trying to run into a huge group of orcs. They just planted themselves and push back. You'd get freaking dismounted.
Yep.
But then they're trying to say, actually, no, you can see the chain here. And so it's like, I see the chain going down here, and then it's going up here. I have no idea where the chain is now. And they're trying to say it's still knocking over orcs. Yeah, and then it's hooked onto one. Shut up. show. I don't believe you. Get lost. My goodness, this show, man. Oh, if you want something good, unlike this crap, you can check out my graphic novel, because that's available. It's on Indiegogo. It's really cool.
Link in the description.
There is a link in the description, and it's actually really good quality. And we got some great deals.
Beautiful
and
art.
I can't wait to get it to you. I'll show a little bit more about that later, because we're in the battle now. But my goodness, this is just awful. And then the orc is getting dragged, and look, they're in the sunlight.
Yeah.
They're actually in sunlight there. I need to go back, because that was bright sunlight directly. Let's do you see this? They're casting Shad. Look at how much sun is on them.
There is a lens flare,
Look.
which only happens when there's a light source and they're outside, so it's the sun.
Can you make this full screen? Because this is like inexcusable for what they set up. Exposed skin right there, exposed face right there, indirect sunlight, and is basically fine. Yeah, he's getting dragged, but this show is just full of crap. Can't believe it. More crappy fighting, and it's just they just cut between, oh, I do something here, oh, I hit an orc there, and that's basically the fight. Okay, but just look at this guy. He can barely keep his balance. He's as crap as before. And yeah, that's the fight, right? And it doesn't really have any kind of story where they do something and they regroup over here, or I have to counterattack with it. It's just chaotic, bashing. And then we see the queen sitting off to a distance. And I'm like, you have like 20 guys there. I mean, yeah, you might want to keep some to protect you, but you're pretty safe. And you're on horses, so you can ride to safety if you ever get attacked. And there's 20 there. Some of your people still might get, killed, even though you outnumber the map. But still, send the rest of the guys in. But then she's like, go. And only Isildur
one horse just goes through.
Isildur goes like, yeah. He's like, yeet.
I think we also missed Galadriel's first horse trick.
Oh, did we?
Because my note here does that one first. And
when
when that happened, everyone,
Yeah.
I was just like,
yeah.
you see this facial expression? That's why I was like watching this.
Because Galadriel's so great.
Make it
I'm not sure this is it. Is this it? Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, he's got the arrow.
He's shooting on the outside. And he looks like he's even doing thumb grip. Ah, check out this orc.
The orcs are right. They're the good guys.
They're doing almost Mongolian style thumb draw, arrow on the outside. And so yeah, Galadriel, right? To dodge the arrow, she jumps off the horse, flips up and down. This is amazing. I'm glad you're right, because I wrote it. We're gonna go slowly, because the way she passes the orc, her sword, it's impossible for her sword to have reached the orc.
Yeah.
And then its head flies off.
Yeah. Even though she's pointing down towards his legs.
Towards nothing. Like the orc's head gets decapitated by nothing here. Watch slowly. We're gonna go very. So ready? She's already passed the orc. And then the sword didn't even reach. And she swung upwards, not straight, to take its head off. Like what? What? I'm like, come off it. Galadriel's so amazing. She can just swing her sword in the vague direction of an enemy and they fall in pieces. Oh my goodness.
Tick.
Yep. And then again, random, them fighting orcs. Isildur's like, yay, I get to go down and fight. And I'm like, well, what about the other guys? Oh! And so, Elendil, right? Again, he should be dead. Like, this orc full on wraps his arms around him. It's like, where's their weapons? Suddenly, because it's a main character, and it's not only one, he gets attacked by like 3 orcs.
Yeah, it gets like stacks on.
And none of them have a weapon! It's ridiculous. Look, and so there's an orc down there at his feet. And then, of course, Isildur's coming in farther. But he gets Deus Ex Machina saved by someone else. You think it's going to be Isildur, but the show, it all subverts your expectations. This is such crap. Oh, and the show thinks this is so epic, right? This is like, I would expect a low-tier fight scene like this as maybe a taste in the first episode as a build-up. As like, hey, we got action, but we can build towards something. But this is the big one, I believe.
This is
I think this is the big one.
This is the finale set piece.
How many episodes do we have left?
We've got two more.
Two more. Maybe there'll be another one. I don't know, but this is such weak. And there's 4 orcs there! 1, 2, 3, 4! And none of them have a weapon! They're just trying to hump him! It's like a very energetic puppy. I'm gonna get you! Like, look at him!
You'd think one of them would grab a weapon from, like, one of their...
Hang on! Does that one have a knife?
Yeah. He does.
What were you doing? I can't believe this show, man. So that one even had a weapon and they just chose not to use it. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't stand it. Anyway, so Isildur's running in, and so suddenly, now an orc has a weapon. And I'm watching this like, oh yeah, I'm really worried that he might die.
Haven't seen this in the past 10 minutes, have I?
I know, show you have just me on. You have me on the edge of my seat. I'm so no, of course not. You know, it's like bullcrap. You're gonna kill him off. We're not invested in this. And of course, right at the right moment, bang. Yeah, so bloody obvious. Plot armor, and it's totally not Sauron. It was him. He's fighting, and he saved him. Then Isildur comes in and there's like he hugs it out with his dad, and then you see
Yeah, Galadriel's like, who's the commander person?
That's right. Because so do you see what he did then? He missed a thrust, but then did a draw cut back. It's like, so you can follow up from a strike?
Yeah.
Because in my fight scene autopsy, there was heaps of moments when someone would attack Galadriel and she'd dodge, and they could have easily just redirected and killed her, and they just let her get away with it.
She didn't get to that point in the sword training.
Yep. But discount Legolas, he knows follow-up strikes. Anyway, so yes, where is their commander? And it's the bad guy. He rides away. Galadriel follows, and then discount Sauron totally not Sauron follows. Something weird happens here. Did you notice this?
Yeah, she gets a boost.
She does a spell.
Yeah.
She speaks it. Her horse isn't riding fast enough, and so she whispers some magical elven words, and it comes out like all musical thingy, and the horse suddenly is going way faster. And look, no, the show can't get away with this. It doesn't get to rely on external canon to justify things, because it's made an absolute abomination of canon. It's destroyed canon, okay? And so the show has given absolutely no indication at all that Galadriel is capable of anything magical. She's just a warrior. An insanely over-the-top, unjustifiably
Major Mary Sue, who can just do whatever she wants and get away with it.
Okay? But at no point have they given any indication she's capable of magic, and trying to say, it's justified because... No, the show hasn't indicated this, and so by going off of the merit of the show itself, she just suddenly pulls out magic from her rear end out of nowhere. I can just do magic because I can.
And she'll probably do it this one time, and that'll be it.
Yeah, and you want to know another quality of Mary Sue? Manifesting skills that they haven't learned or set up or trained in or anything.
Like Ray and healing.
It's that bad. Oh. She just pulls out a magic spell out of nowhere.
Why did she use that spell before on all the horses? It was such a rush.
Would have been useful, right? Oh, yeah. And so anyway, then this was laughable. You see them ride off, right? Uh-huh. And totally not Sauron sees them leave, okay? And they establish beyond any doubt he is far behind him. And now it cuts to this. But he decides to just tap the horse's feet. And maybe this could make a horse trip. I don't know. It doesn't. Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like horses could recover from that or jump, like especially with how close to the ground it was.
I would have believed it more if he swung at full power into the horse, or he jabbed the spearhead into the ground, bracing it, and just smacked it like that. But this is like he held it out. So I don't know. He gets knocked off his horse, and totally not sour, and is like, "You remember me?" And the guy's like, "No." And he's like, and he's happy about that. He's like, "Oh, good. My secret identity is intact." That's what that scene meant. And then Galadriel's like, "No, don't." And her line. Oh. Okay,
The one cannot satisfy thirst by
Yep.
drinking seawater. What's Galadriel's mission again? Isn't she like going on a vengeance quest to avenge her brother or whatever?
So that context of line came up when Halbrand accused her of revenge, and she said that line, "Yeah, you can't slate your thirst by drinking seawater." But the thing is, though, she is on a quest for revenge, pretty much. It's contradictory. But she's encouraging him to go on a quest for revenge as well. In fact, she said this is the only way you'll find peace.
You'll find peace, yeah.
And now she's saying that killing him won't, bring you, like it'll be bad. It won't bring you peace. What about every other orc that he killed at the same... to him, there's not much difference between this guy and all the other orcs.
And even just, like... She doesn't say, "Stop, we need him for questions,"
Yeah,
or...
which would have made sense.
We should use him for leverage, or any sort of stuff. She just says, "Don't drink seawater."
Yeah.
Because even if you're thirsty, it won't quench your thirst. Like, that's not the time for an analogy.
Exactly.
You just say, "Don't kill him." You can use him.
That's not the only time when something direct and clear would have made far more sense for the scene. Just like, we need to question him. Something simple as that. But then just like goes out with him. But there's another moment as well where I think I've eaten it down. Oh yeah. It's in this scene as well. Where he starts speaking, she says, "Eat your tongue."
Yes.
Or just...
Who says "eat your tongue"?
Just silence, maybe?
Bite your tongue?
Bite your tongue?
That's a...
Eat your tongue.
They
You're
could
right.
have said "bite your tongue." Why do you say "eat your tongue"? We already have the use of "bite your tongue." Why do you feel you need to change it?
Because they want to be... They're so desperate to be Tolkienian, and they can't...
Why do you say "bite your
I
tongue"?
know,
It's already there.
Is that a euphemism? There's already a
Yes!
saying that means that. Eat your
They
tongue.
try, like... Again, this is when I think it's written by AI, because only an AI would be, like, dumb enough to be like, "Oh, bite your tongue." It's... Ugh.
You are absolutely right. Oh my goodness. And anyway, so they take him back, and suddenly, so it's like it cuts back to the village. So I'll play it forward, and it's like, look how clean the village is all of a sudden. Didn't they just wipe out all these orcs, and there would have been blood, weapons, and trash everywhere? Didn't they? Wasn't there like a burning barricade and everything? And
Gone.
so what you know is they filmed this before the battle scene when it was all clean and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And then, but who's paying attention to the continuity? It was like a full-on battle hellscape before, and now it's like, clean dirt road, green grass on the sides, and all that stuff. Nothing's chopped up through heaps of horses riding everywhere,
Nothing's
and blood and
burnt or
burnt bodies
destroyed
or burnt charred timber or anything. This show is so crap. So anyway, there's a conversation where they say, Isildur is going on a journey with Galadriel or someone. That's where he's been assigned. And this guy says, "Oh, are you going to come with me or something? I've seen enough battle in a week. For a week, more like a lifetime." Like, it was barely a skirmish.
Yeah, but that guy was a sissy.
Was that the guy that was just like,
Yeah. He had the one sword, and then his friend to come save him.
This orc that was just hitting the same way.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, he doesn't switch it up. He doesn't stab him and kill him. He's just like, oh,
hit the sword.
he keep hitting the sword. You're holding the sword in the same spot, and I'll just keep hitting the sword.
Yeah.
For ages until Isildur came in and killed it. It's like, it was so set up and fake. Yeah. So that's the guy. Yeah, he's not much of a fighter, I agree. Still, this wasn't a battle. It was a bloodbath. They just came in, wiped the floor with everyone. You didn't even break a sweat.
Yeah.
Come off it like that was such a desperate battle. Like, if anything, right, for most of these guys, they'd be like, was that it? I'm just getting started. My blood's... Where are the rest of them? I'm ready to go again. It would be that easy.
From this, I think war would be easier.
I know.
They'd, overestimate
Exactly.
their ability.
That would be... it was such an easy fight. I really feel for most young guys, they'd just be like, was that it? Bring on more. I barely got started. And now they're like, no, we're done. Pathetic. All right, so then we cut to the interrogation.
It's Uruk. We're not orcs, we're Uruk.
Yep.
Orc is a slur, apparently.
Speaking of slurs, Galadriel calls him a slur. That would apply to elves as well. I was a bit shocked by that. We'll get there. But anyway, she asks him where Sauron is. He says, I killed Sauron. She instantly says, I don't believe you. And I'm like, but why not? I mean, you know, you found the guy that might be...
If you're not going to believe the guy you're interrogating, why are you interrogating him?
Now, I get it that Sauron has this big plan to gather in the Southlands. You get there's bad guys in the Southlands, and you think that Sauron might be there. But still, I mean, you know, there might be, you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that one of his generals or something killed him or something. But she doesn't explain, like, that's impossible or anything like that. Like, Sauron has been gathering here, don't lie to me or something. But she just says, no, I don't believe you. And that we're not given any other context for it. So I just felt like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, you want information of him. But then she goes on, right? And she says, like, you know, I won't kill you until... she says something, like, pretty dark, basically, that it will keep you alive until...
oh, yeah, I got the quote for me to read it.
Okay, go.
And even if it takes me all of this age, I vow to eradicate every last one of you. But you shall be kept alive, so that one day, before I drive my dagger into your poisoned heart, I will whisper into your piked ear that all of your offspring are dead, and the scourge of your kind ends with you. Holy crap, Cleandra! That is the darkest thing I've heard! That is messed up!
I don't know. All power to you. The show, like, I get mixed messages. I don't know if the show is trying to say Galadriel has gone so far, isn't this bad? Or that people are trying to get her to doubt herself and she's purely justified. But again, these are evil orcs. You know, this guy was leading on a slaughter fest and everything. It's like, yeah, make him suffer.
I just think with his response being, he says, it would seem I'm not the only elf alive who has been transformed by darkness. Perhaps your search for Morgoth's successor should have ended in your own mirror.
That was like, was that one of the lines you thought you were
I was like,
I'll give him that.
Damn.
It was like, you know,
look in the mirror, Galadriel.
Adar, you might be one of the better written characters in the show so far.
Her comment of like doing that awful stuff to him and then him saying maybe you're the evil, her reaction to being like, you're pointing at my flaws. Like it just proves the point that she's bad. Because he points out, oh, you're bad. And then she
and I really don't think they're going to take Galadriel on some redemption quest or something like that. She also says, your kind was a mistake. I think that, like,
she's just being really rude, I think.
Oh, they're orcs, you know.
But she...
Spawn of the...
It is an Uruk.
Yeah. What kind of through is like, and I will whisper in your piked ear. And I'm like, Galadriel, you have pointed ears too. It's like, I feel like this is, I don't know, her calling someone the N-word when she's of the same, you know, identity. Like,
it's funny though, just before she goes to kill him, and he's like, it's Uruk.
Yeah.
He keeps repeating it.
Like,
if it doesn't work the first time, mate, I'm sorry, I don't think she's going to fix
I don't
herself.
know. I think I like Adar at this point.
I like, it's funny, but I just how consistent he is.
But I don't think the show wanted me to like Adar.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then my comment was just like, I love how Galadriel's always telling Halbrand to be free of his past, but whenever she's questioned about her past, she's like, no! I'm not going to be free of it! I'm going to kill you all!
And it's funny how, like, the origin of the orcs comes up here. I've been working with a Tolkien scholar expert, and it turns out there is actually some deeper lore as to the origin of the orcs, that there's some, there's a reference from Tolkien much later on that gives point of reference that the orcs come from men, but there are some Tolkien fans that debate it. But it's a quote that comes from, you know, a direct source much later on that not many people know of.
I think, from my understanding, was he changed the origin.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's like, actually, I don't agree with that. I'm going to change it to make it different. So,
but it had, anyway, deep significance.
I mean, as a writer, you're allowed to do that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Retcon things if you feel it's appropriate and doesn't, and especially if in like the actual works, the written works, it's not definitive. Okay, yeah. But anyway, so it's interesting that they go into the origin a bit there, and they explain, why he's so connected with the orcs. And basically, he is like a cursed elf, and any children he fathers comes out as orcs, is what I'm getting from that. That's my interpretation, because he calls them his offspring at one point, I think.
But I don't know if that's literal or if it just means all the orcs are technically his family, or because how does he get kids? He needs a second person, doesn't he?
Yes. Okay, so we keep moving on, and after this scene, this interesting thing, we heard about, he talks about Sauron, and Sauron was trying to make something, and he killed lots of orcs, and he wasn't working, so I didn't like him killing all my orcs, and blah blah blah. That's where she whispers into him, "You're dark," and she was about to do the thing, and was it Halbrand? Does Halbrand say like he something about seawater again?
I can't remember. All I know is that he stops her, and then she's like, "Oh, thank you." You see?
Yeah.
He's like, Uruk.
Yeah, like she said, "I hate you, orc." And he's like, "It's Uruk." I don't know.
His dying word is like, "I'm gonna correct you."
I love it, like someone correcting her. It's like, good on him.
Maybe that's why I like it. It gives me joy.
Yeah.
Someone's actually telling her.
Yep.
Like, oh, me too. I felt it as well.
I felt love. Yeah, they're really trying to do a bit of a shipping there relationship. Anyway, so after that, he's called back, and everyone's having a party. And I thought that was a bit out of place, considering they lost a lot of people and stuff. It might be, a somber moment. But no, they're all cheering, like, yeah, we don't need to worry about everyone that died. We'll just have a party and we're all happy. And I think there was even music playing. And I'm like, gee.
I was shocked at this too, because I thought that they would have gone further into the Southlands to see. Because this is like not even in the center of the conflict.
You're probably not done. Yeah, what about all the other possible orcs?
But they're just like, all right, we're good, we're great, let's just go and have a great time.
Amazing. Okay. And then all hail the true king. I couldn't believe this, right? Oh, he comes in, she looks at him, sees his like pendant brooch thing. So she's like, "This is Lord Halbrand." Right? She looks, and like, is this thing glowing? She notices it really easily and really quickly. And is this all it takes? If I walked in with this thing
and said, "I'm a king,"
and everyone's like, "Sweet," and they all do that though. They're just like, all hail the true king of the Southlands. That's what they all. Oh, that's easy. That's all it takes. And I'm like, does no one recognize him? You'd think if he says it's from the Southlands, if the lord of a wealthy family, no one recognizes him all. It's like still a complete stranger, and they all bend the knee. Here's our king. Wow. Holy crap. That's laughable. But that's what they do. Oh. So then he talks, and he feels all guilty for saving his mum's life, and I'm like, it's not that bad. And he's like, I feel bad because I don't know, something that he felt,
because he felt powerful
when he held the sword.
Yeah, and he feels bad because he has to give up that power. I just hate in this show whenever they have a feeling or emotion that they shouldn't have, then get rid of it.
Yeah.
Don't talk through the problem or ways to manage it. It's just be done with it. That's as far as that goes.
And so he hands back the thing. All right. And every context is like the sword is in there. And look at the shape, right? An axe has a very distinct shape.
Can basically see it there as well.
I don't think you can see the axe. I think the axe head would be sticking out more. I think they wanted to fool the audience so much, they had it in the exact same shape to not show it.
You're probably right. I reckon if we put a sword hilt and an axe next to each other, you would be able to tell.
Easily, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't even think they have the axe in there just so they want the reveal when he opens it up and suddenly there's a really differently shaped object inside. Because now, look how it's like, it's pretty obvious this is an axe now.
Yeah.
Where before, It's like,
Yeah, no, you're right.
and then he opens it up, and they don't show it yet. They must, because they might actually cut away.
No, it's just a really long pause. They really drag.
Oh yeah, it's like bull crap. No one noticed that. Look at the
wooden
shape
handle?
of that thing. Just the weight difference. You grab's like, oh, this is way more. Well, hang on, what? But the show actually wants us to buy this. So then it cuts back to the tower. So don't want to go. Yeah, here it is. And hang on, this should be buried in rubble. The tower full on collapsed on it.
Yep.
But there's only rubble everywhere else. But right in front of this thing, perfectly fine. This is where we find out it's a key, literally slotting into some kind of like turning mechanism thing.
But didn't that also turn into a sword if you gave it blood?
Yes.
So it's like a key sword.
It's a key sword. Yeah. And so look at it, right? And so it goes down into the slot, and yeah, literally, it's turn it like a key. And it's so bizarre because what it does, right? I was thinking maybe it opened up a passageway into, I don't know, the underground of Mount Doom or something like that. And that maybe makes sense because the logic could be, all right, there's this evil, dark, underground chasm, volcano chasm thing. And the elves wanted to make sure no one could get into there. So they sealed it off. And then they built a tower there to protect it, okay? But then if they sealed it off, why did they make it an evil, dark mural thing that seems to be worshipping evil thing with an actual statue of the key there? Yeah. And why would the key be something really dark? So it wasn't made by the elves, okay? It must have been made by Sauron. But hang on, this isn't a passageway to the underground of Mount Doom or anything. What? It just opens up a spillway in a dam.
It is the most sinister-looking floodgates
I can't
key I've ever seen in my life. It would make more sense just to have a lever that you could pull.
Yes!
Without a key, you don't need a key for this. It just opens.
Why would Sauron want to make like a spillway on a dam and an evil like key thing that
Key sword that you give it blood and then it turns into a sword as well. Like they were setting this thing up to be so evil and sinister. This power, like you cannot give this to Sauron because then he will take over, destroy.
I know.
It's like the ring. You don't want to give
I
it to
thought it
him.
was like the One Ring or something really bad and evil.
It just opens a dam!
It's just a key to open a spillway on it.
And if the orcs didn't tunnel through into a mountain or a volcano, then it would have just flooded some areas. It wouldn't have done anything. So not only... Oh, yeah, it's so dumb.
It's unbelievably dumb. And so he turns the key. Things are rumbling. And there's already a bit of a spillway. You know, there's some water coming out. And we see it. And then a big spillway opens up. And that's it. Like, look at like there's a big... man, it shakes the entire mountain. Holy crap. Okay. And all it does is lower that one stone. It's like, hang on! Adar! Your whole plan was like go through all this trouble to find the key when you could have just gotten, I don't know, a trebuchet or something and break down that one stone block to open... You didn't need the key at all, you moron! This is unbelievable. But then what happens next?
That's right, all the plans,
I can't
everything's
believe
coming together.
The show thinks this is genius, and it's one of the most retarded things I've ever seen. It is unbelievably dumb. Just watch what happens, okay? So water, lots of water spilling out. Okay. Evil dark key thing did that. And so, rumbling, there's talking, right? Then you don't...
And they have a whole thing about how the horses are intimate with their riders.
And there's even a weird line. He says, like, a horse of westernness.
Yeah.
You mean a western horse? No. A horse of westernness.
They don't even know English.
They don't know English. It's like, and they're trying to, you know, like a horse of westernness forms a bond with a rider. Like, you mean a western horse? You imbecile. just speak normally. They're that desperate, right, to sound impressive that they just make a like abomination of language. Yeah. And just... I can't believe it. I want to even get the line because I think it comes up in the subtitles. Maybe we'll bring it down and I'll play it until we see it. Oh my goodness, this show.
Apparently the Westernese is a Tolkien thing.
Is it? Okay, maybe if it's a Tolkien thing, but still, I don't
But you
know.
can also say from the West.
Yeah, they skip, or they change between Tolkienness and modern language. Very.
I don't know. Even
back
for
and forth
Tolkien, I'd
is-
say that's a stretch. It's like
Apparently it's another word for Númenor.
from Númenor.
Westernness. Okay.
All right, I'll let it. I don't know. It sounds so jarring that I sometimes things do age a bit too much that just doesn't fit right when you're, and so there might have been a needed.
Could have just said
update for that
Númenorian
one.
horse.
I mean, you know, the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings original thing has the F word in it. But the F
the
word
other
that
word.
means a bundle
Every
of
time
sticks.
I know you. That's what it means. Every time you say it has the F word in it, I always go, "What? Really?" But then I remember, yes, the other F word.
The other F word. Bundle of sticks, F word. And so, would they put that in the show if they're that desperate to remain true to it? Like, maybe sometimes language evolves a little too far.
I reckon they'd use queer folk a bit when they talk about the hobbits. I reckon they'd be okay with that.
Yeah, because they, maybe you could get away with queer still. But the F one, I don't think they'd get away with that now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Nah.
Let's grab that bundle of sticks and throw it on the fire.
Okay, that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Because there's even a moment where they are collecting these bundles for firewood. Alrighty, so there's that conversation. And then suddenly, like, all those tunnels that
Burst.
just, like, burst open. Just look at that. Holy crap. The pressure in that is insane. Like, I'm not sure.
But we even
that's
see
how-
the tunnels from like inside perspective, and then it's just like
Yeah.
it's not even like full pressure.
It's not. That's insane pressure to do
Yeah.
that. It blew apart rocks and everything. And then they show several other explosions. But we're not done yet with the bull crap. Okay. All right. So this is where we see some of this. So this water pathway.
Oh, it's not up.
Let's bring it up.
Okay.
So look at it's just trying. Yeah, it's flowing through a tunnel.
It's like a water slide.
It wouldn't explode. It's not explosive pressure by any means. All right, okay. And so, and then the trench that they called a tunnel, but it's really a trench. And so, like all the water coming out, and I'm just not sure, okay? Because this is the thing: we saw the water leaving the dam through a spillway that was already letting water out.
Yeah.
So
Wouldn't it fill everything else?
wouldn't these things already be filled with water if
Good
the
point.
natural pathway of water from this origin fills up the tunnels and it was already releasing water, there should be water in them. And, I mean, the elf falls into a little puddle of water, but, like, still, if they were there for a long time, it would be enough to fill it up, like, suddenly it's just a floodgate. And remember, these tunnels were made after the fact. And so the spillway opening was not made for the intention of funneling water into Mount Doom. It wasn't this evil, nefarious thing. They built these tunnels after the fact, okay? And so the fact that they had, like, evil Sauron-y thing, dark evil key, is ridiculous beyond comprehension. Okay, and so the show just expects you to go with it. Water flowing everywhere, knocking down that thing. Where is it going? Well, it's going to funnel down.
It reminds me of like when you play at the beach with sand, and then like the tide comes in and the sand goes through like all your little castle area. It gives me that vibe, just like little kids playing in the sand.
So we now know the purpose of this trench, okay? Could we bring this full screen just briefly? Why did they need to burn down all the trees? Like, look at the hellscape they burned down next to it, right? All right, let's bring it back down. Because you know one of the big problems they had when digging the trench?
Trees.
No,
No,
what did they add to the trench so they could, remember? They had
They had the covering over top.
canopy
Yeah.
covering, okay?
Yeah.
But if they just left the trees next to it, they would have shaded covering anyway. In actual fact, orcs, these trees would be really useful for them. Yet they decide to go hellscape, burn all the trees, exposing themselves to the sunlight which they hate. Why? This show is so stupid.
I am now speechless.
Oh, this show is so dumb. But no, orcs hate trees. You think they'd hate the sun more because it burns them? But no, they hate trees. They'll just chop them down, make it even harder to the point where they have to just get miles and miles of cloth to make a canopy for this trench that they're building. And then all the water gets funneled down into that cave. And look, we see a big mountain in the distance. And look at that quantity of water, right? We saw how big the trench was. So it's not huge amounts, okay? And then, holy crap, where did all that water come from?
That's a big hole.
That's a giant hole. And this is an insane torrent of water. What? And then the show honestly expects us to believe, right? The water falling down onto this lava creates explosive
flammable.
expansion.
Don't drink the water in Middle Earth. Okay, I don't know what they put in it.
The logic is it instantly vaporizes, turn into steam, and supposed to create explosive expansion. Bullcrap. No, look at how open this area is. It will cause crazy amounts of steam, but I've seen lava falling into the ocean, right? It just, like the water would actually start to solidify the surface of this lava, turning heaps of steam, but it would actually start to pool and make the lava solid, okay? Yeah. It would not cause what they're saying in any measure. The bullcrap of this is astronomical. You don't need to understand much physics at all to know that this is complete ludicrous bullcrap. At the very most, if you want to try and justify this, you need the water injected into a small location underneath the lava flow to cause explosive expansion. But this is not just explosive expansion. This is like detonating a friggin' nuke under the mountain for what bloody happens. And the show honestly expects that pouring water on top causes this? Bullcrap! Get out of here with that! You're drunk! I don't believe you, okay? But that's their logic. Ready? Look at this. Make this full screen because this is laughably dumb. And this is a really open big chasm. But they're trying to say that the water makes it... Look, now the lava's exploding.
Yeah, it gets...
Look at it go... Ready? And then it just erupts. What's going on? Are they pouring like nitroglycerin times 1,000 onto this? Holy crap! My goodness! And then watch this! What the hell's going on? And it doesn't stop there. Look, it causes... I can't believe that. Oh, the chat's just like, what? WTF?
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
There's more.
The other thing I want to break down about this, okay? So, a mountain forms when eruptions happens because all the lava flow builds up and everything. And so even if there is pressure underneath, pushing the lava up, okay? Mm-hmm. How, like, if the lava was, like, near the surface and just capped off and everything like that, how did the water reach it? The water was deep underground. Like, okay, so then they're trying to explain, okay, it's the lava wasn't that high up. It was just deep underground. But it's only pouring on top of it. Like, it wouldn't have caused an eruption. I'm trying to think, how could they have, like, what?
It was dark water. Dark magical water.
And they showed that there wasn't a lot of pressure there. If we go back, right, it's just lava. Like, if usually an eruption happens because it's sealed off and the pressure is pushing until it suddenly gets to a breaking point and bursts. And that's where you can get a crazy big eruption. Did you see that like eruption at sea that happened on that island you could see from space on? There's a perfect example of insane pressure buildup. But we literally see here that there's an open hole letting air escape and everything into this thing, so there's no pressure at all in this volcano.
No.
And so they can't even say that they cracked open the top. Like, imagine if there was, like, pressure building up and they had rumblings and everything, and people look at the mountain and they don't know what's going, and you could try and build up towards there, and their plan was somehow to crack open the top and bust it open. And I don't know, some magic, evil, whatever. They could have figured out a way, and it wouldn't take me long to figure out something either. But no, their plan is to have a spillway on a dam that funnels water into an open volcano, and that causes an explosive expansion eruption on the that makes the mountain just explode. It's insanity. It's baffling stupidity. I can't believe it. That's what they expect us to believe. And this eruption is insane. Okay, it's the scale of it is like, holy crap, Mount Vesuvius is just now about to level Pompeii.
Yeah.
Thing, right? It is insane, the level of eruption here. And everyone's like going, oh no, oh. So look at this, it's huge. Yes, chat, I agree. This show is just so dumb. Oh my goodness. And then, yeah, like, massive shockwave. Like, again, that they're trying to imply huge explosion.
Okay, so this big cloud that comes out of the volcano is called a
Oh, wait. I'm gonna get there. Yes. Like, I know what yes, I've looked it up.
Okay.
I know what a pyroclastic flow is, and I lost it when they showed that in this. It's like, yes. And like, we'll get there, right? Okay, so look at this. Look at this. The guy gets fried. Look, like,
and you know what the Queen says?
Find shelter! Yeah, that'll help!
Burning buildings, find shelter in them!
Look at the Queen's face here. That was like, Gore. That's the one we use for the thumbnail at the moment. She's like, oh! Gosh. This is just... this is supposed to be this big epic moment. I'm just like, just gobsmacked, speechless by this stupidity. I'm just like, what? You really expect me to buy?
Yeah, my two impressions were this was their plan all along. This is what they wanted the sword for. This is why they were tunneling things for. And the second thing being like, how was this at all sensible? Imagine
if this key opened up a pathway to the bowels of Mount Doom, right? Mm-hmm. And like, one of the ways is that they throw the actual sword thing in it, and it starts to vibrate with magical energy, and then sinks, and they show it sinking deep down, and then it explodes with its cursed magical energy, and that causes the volcano eruption. They could have done that. I would have bought that a little bit more. That's like a huge magical eruption. I didn't even see the One Ring do that, but it's something. At least it's something, okay? It's still not great, actually. But maybe Sauron had something buried underneath Mount Doom that he was ready to, enact a plan, and he was just waiting for something. I don't know.
Anything other than opening a dam then makes a volcanic eruption.
So stupid. Yeah, take shelter. I don't think that's gonna help. Like,
there's no shelter.
Oh, so this is where I lose it, because they show something here. So Galadriel's just standing there. Yeah, you're doing a lot, Galadriel.
That's all she does, though.
Yeah, she just watches. And look! Oh, flippin' hell! So what this is, people, when a volcano erupts, it can cause something called a pyroclastic flow. Okay? Take it down. So, I know what it is, but not because, like, I'm an expert on volcanoes, because I've seen the film Dante's Peak. It's a great film, by the way. Go watch it. But in Dante's Peak, they have a pyroclastic flow in it. Uh-huh. A pyroclastic flow is a friggin' death cloud, right? This is what it is, all right? Right from, you look it up and you can get the definition. A pyroclastic flow is a hot, typically 800 Celsius to 1,500 Fahrenheit, or 1,500 Fahrenheit, chaotic mixture of rock, fragments, gas, and ash that travels rapidly, tens of meters per second, away from a volcanic event or collapsing flow front.
So they should all be dead.
They're dead! They're vaporized! They're burnt to the crisp! There's no way you should be able to survive this! But guess what Galadriel does? She walks into it and just lets it hit her. A pyroclastic flow vaporizes everything, basically. And this is like a pyroclastic flow friggin' times infinity. You can see the fire and lightning and volcano and crap in this thing. This is a destruction cloud that will fry everything. It's like 800 degrees to 1,000, like 500 Fahrenheit. This is insane!
100 Celsius boils water.
100 Celsius boils water, people, and this is 800 Celsius. And they show it glowing red hot underneath. And then they expect, look at this! Look at this! And we're expected to believe, look, it fries a friggin' building! And they even show it! That the building just totally... Wait for it. I need to see that again. We might take that full screen just to show you. Because look at this.
Okay.
Like, ready? Like, you can already see buildings on fire, but it cuts to another thing. Look at that building, right? Look at what happens to it as this thing approaches.
It's gone.
And look at how it hits a building and fries it. That building is just engulfed in burning hot debris, ash. And Galadriel, she just only stands there.
She accepts it.
Look at this. Look at this. Ready? So, that's it. Show's over. It's done. They're all dead. That's the true canon. Don't believe him next episode. They're not alive. That's just bullcrap. Okay, they all died. The end. The pain and torture is over. Rings of power done. I'm happy. And then Sauron rises in Mordor, and
That's the end.
That's the end.
Thanks for watching.
But the reality is, we saw Cheeto's Galadriel, right?
Yeah.
She's alive.
Well, there was a preview after this episode finished.
Yeah,
They show a preview, yeah.
And the only way she'd be as like Superman, like she'd have to be invulnerable to survive this. Bullcrap, she's alive. She stood there face first as a friggin' pyroclastic cloud hits her.
Also, she's wearing armor. You think that armor would probably melt
Yeah.
her or cook her.
Cook her alive. And the show ends on this, by the way. Ready? That's it. Credits.
Well done.
I'm not sure I've seen something this dumb unintentionally. I've seen intentional stupidity.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I've ever seen something so unintentionally and unironically stupid where they thought they were making something so clever and it was this brain-destroyingly stupid. My IQ has lessened being forced to watch that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And like, think about the layers of stupid we went through. From the weird evil door key just for an overflow on a dam, to the fact that the tunnels weren't filling up with water anyway, and then just funneled water into the volcano, and then by the flow that they showed, it wouldn't be a large, amount of water, and then suddenly it just comes down like a sea was just opened up, and then they're trying to say that triggers an explosive eruption when it. If anything, that would have sealed that. There was no pressure. It just would have sealed the top of the volcano. It actually would have been really effective in calming it down. Yeah. And then you'd have a lake on top. And then they honestly want us to believe it triggered an eruption of that insanity. And then on top of that, the eruption is insanely big with one of the most destructive pyroclastic flows I think I've ever seen depicted in media. And we're expected to believe that Galadriel survives it walking headlong into it. This bloody show, man. I mean, there's suspension of disbelief, but then there's turning off brain. No, you have to take out your brain and just pummel it with a mallet until it's Swiss cheese to try and accept this crap. I can't. I'm speechless. Remember, so we said that there were fewer amounts of stupidity because of less talking, but the actual events were astronomically dumb. This is the biggest stupid in the show so far, I think.
Yeah. Man, how they're going to top this? That's my question. They managed to get dumber and dumber. What's the
have we reached peak stupidity? I don't know.
think so. We've got 4 more seasons after this one.
Oh my goodness! Wow. So, I like this episode ends on a banger, not in a good way. This is just incredible. Rings of Power, episode 6. Wow. All right, but no, we're not done because you wonderful people, I'm sure you've had observations, you've got your stupid chats, we're going to get to them. Can't wait to hang out with you, and we will definitely get to that. I just want to, shill a little bit. Just let me shill a little bit, because if you want some good media, my graphic novel is, the launch campaign is live. You can go, secure your copy. Not only that, if you want to see the full story, the second edition of my novel is also available, and you can get it in the collector edition covers or leather-bound. Leather-bound, beautiful leather-bound. Do go check that out if you're interested in it. And we might just briefly play the trailer. Are we able to do that?
I've got a button here just for it.
Yeah, we're going to quickly just give you a bit of a showcase of it, and then we'll get to Super Chats.
Shadow of the Conqueror is coming to you in an epic graphic novel adaptation with the incredibly talented art of Mike S. Miller. The book will be separated into 4 graphic novel volumes. This first one, entitled Enemies of Self, has 48 pages of stunning art visualizing the amazing and unique world of Everfall with some of the best work Mike has ever done. With special collector edition covers and limited Everfall merchandise, this is your one and only chance to secure these special versions of this phenomenal epic fantasy graphic novel. Chronicles of Everfall, Shadow of the Conqueror, Volume 1, Enemies of Self.
There we go.
All right, we're back. Look at the art in that. Like, oh, man, so happy with the art. It's top tier. Like, this is one of the highest quality graphic novels you can get, and you'll love the story. And even if you've read the book, you get to see it depicted visually, which I think is just awesome. And there's actual, story elements that aren't in the novel, that's specially in the graphic novel, so it expands a bit. It's really, really cool. Man, wow. Just that episode, dude. That episode. I can't, it's something special. It is especially bad. I'm not sure I could write something that dumb, even if I tried. Because it would look too forced.
It would, yeah.
The thing is, what amazes me about Rings of Power is that while you're watching, the creators think that this is amazing. They are oblivious to how bad it is. And that just takes it to a new level. I've never experienced it. Maybe She-Hulk comes close, honestly.
I don't know, though. They don't have volcanoes in She-Hulk.
It's true. Oh, wow. All right. Jumping to the super chats. And so, Babylon for 50 PLN. Sorry, I don't know the currency, but thank you. What is it when Shad wins a strategy game but hurts himself celebrating? Shad of the Conqueror. Don't hurt yourself in Shadlands, because name Shadowlands is already taken. You're absolutely right. Thank you very much for the comment. Dragon Drakage for 50 US says, Shad would love to hear you review 2003 Hulk movie with Eric Bana. Don't give up. Keep doing it. Someday. I'm sure someday. Natalie Brathwaite for GBP5 says, my condolences for having to review this garbage. J.R. Tolkien is turning in his grave. I know. But you guys make it worthwhile. Hanging out with you guys makes it a joy. We love it. And thank you for the chat. Lazy Fossilot for $2 US says, "Hail watch, hail to you. May your vigilance be ever rewarded." Thank you, we appreciate that. Tender Warrior A68 for $10 says, "I turned on my TV and muttered it was Rings of Power time and it yeeted itself. Sparks and smoke. It's got to be bad when your TV commits seppuku over it." Honestly, smart TV though. J-Lox Jedi for 10 GBP says, "You deserve a break from trash. Watch The Gods Must Be Crazy." I have seen The Gods Must Be Crazy. It's hilarious. Love it. It's an excellent comedy, but you remind me of the protagonist whenever you say, "Ay, ay, ay." Looking forward to my book delivery. Can't wait to get it to you. I don't know. Ay, 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 ay. Gods Must Be Crazy is hilarious. It's funny, right? It was so successful. It was made on such this tiny budget that whoever funded it gave him a huge budget for the sequel, and then he just made like the same thing on the same level of budget. It was still hilarious, but he didn't need like.
Good on him.
Good on him.
Do you want to read the next one?
Yes.
Purchase the graphic novel plus novel. I have also recommended the audiobook to my friends who are interested in fantasy. Keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you.
We
Very
appreciate
much.
that.
And that's from Emblazon64. Thank you. Did you want to grab the next one as well? We'll tag team.
That one was from.
Oh no, that was from
Qui-Gon
UP.
For
Sorry, that was Qui-Gon. Yes.
100. Man,
INR.
YouTube needs to make it easier to read super chats because
Sorry.
They
Yes, you're right. This one is from Emblazon64 for
Yes.
2 NZD. They have confirmed. Have they confirmed flat in the show Shad? I don't know if they've confirmed it. You're right. They could just butcher it and just do whatever they want because they don't care about it.
They're going to be like, the Earth's round.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is from UP Shoot for €5. Bart Simpson. This is the worst battle ever. Homer Simpson. The worst battle. The worst battle so far. But hey, the sea is always right.
Well played. That hurts. That hurts. Carlo the Coffee Guy for 10 GBP says, "Elendil in the books is highly faithful and a proud dad of mighty sons. He also has excellent taste in swords and fortresses and one day comes to rule his own land. Does he remind us of anyone?" Now that you say it that way, I like his style. He sounds awesome.
Crazy Tiger for $2 US. Yes, both Aussies are here. Much love.
Much love to you. And we have to... Crazy Tiger person. Crazy Tiger person.
Yeah.
Yes, we got it. Can't be caught out. Eric...
That's okay. They do a second one.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, you're right. Crazy Tiger person again. Oh, Shad. This is $5, yes. Oh, Shad. A... Daedon is a large mammal with haunch shoulders and cloven hooves. It has a massive head and long jaws with fearsome tusks-like front teeth. Okay, thank you for letting us know. Eric Cave for $5 US. Shad, double your volume. I'm sending all these people to you, and no one can hear you. I hope we did it better. We're leaning a bit closer.
Yeah. Well, I'll adjust the audio for you all next stream.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for letting us know. Well, hopefully we'll do better. All right.
Next one is from Frank Zanka for 10 USD. Hi, Shad. I tried emailing you. I'm a fan of the channel and supported your book. Excited. I'm releasing a fantasy novel and was wondering if I could sponsor one of your videos to get the word out.
Maybe. Look, it was hard for us to get to all the emails, and so we might have missed yours. In terms of sponsorships, very happy to be sponsored. We have set rates, so we'll have to look into it. But also, we're holding off promoting a lot of other books and stuff until the campaign for the graphic novel has ended. We're focusing on that at the moment. But afterwards, there's a lot of independent creators I want to, try and push and support and stuff. And look, even now there are some good ones and stuff. And so after you get Shadow the Conqueror, you can have a look at those as well. I backed Clownfish TV's one recently, and there's some great ones out there. But thanks, we'll take a look. Skits 3D for $5 US says, not Gandalf went faster in a half-foot cart than these two carts. The cart's rolling down in the fight. Hey, Nerdrotic for 50 US, thank you, mate, and we read it out, I'll read it again. Really should have taken a look at that package with the missing sword hilts towards the end, I know. Thanks, mate. It's good to see you. Skits 3D for $5 US says, I'm calling it Arendir is gonna be an orc. Maybe not in this season, but this is obvious placement with blood dripping into his mouth. Could he get corrupted by that? Maybe. I don't know.
Max Hope for €2. Just elderly orcs. That's why they forgot weapons.
I couldn't believe it. And it's always when they're fighting the protagonist.
That's when they get dementia.
Lucian for $2 says, cries in Wargame fan. I feel you, man. Thank you.
And also Gorbs for 5 GBP.
Yes.
At least we know where the budget went. Blood effects for this episode.
Seems like they did a lot
It
on
was
that. Yeah.
really hyperimposed on it and and it was not good.
Sarah Gould for $10 US says, ask your lawmaster about Galadriel's spell. Amazon is skirting copyright territory by showing it that way. In the books, that was only Glorfindel speaking encouragement to his horse friend. Interesting. I'm sure he will have caught that. So this law guy I'm working with, he's onto it. Next one, yes.
Equals game for €10. Hey Shad and Sir Nathan, I'm sick in bed and I'm super thankful for the torture you put yourselves through. Really glad I am not the only one feeling sick and tired.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching.
I actually am feeling sick, and so we're getting through it. The show doesn't help though. Tybzanatar T for €10 says, oh no, I read that one. Did I get the person wrong?
No,
What Galadriel said to Adar. Oh, sorry. What Galadriel said to Adar sounds like what Morgoth said to Hurin when he cursed him and was chained to a cliff. The children of Hurin. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Like, what are they trying to do with Galadriel? It's bizarre.
Yeah, she's meant to be the good guy, but obviously she's not. Anyway, next one's from Skits 3D again. Thank you for $2. OMG, it's a Keyblade.
Unironically, yes, it is.
I'm going to use a key, yeah.
Bartolomej Mucha for 50 PLN says, thanks for great content. You are welcome. I will ask, how advanced do you think my English should be so I can read your book with full understanding? It's hard to say. I have no point of reference. I really don't know.
I think...
like, if you're able to write that, I think
pretty
you
good.
could get a good understanding.
It's mainly the sciencey kind of parts that might get a little bit complicated.
Maybe.
Terminology, but for the most part, it's quite understandable.
And some things I don't even understand either. I just accept it.
I get a little specific.
Get technical.
But it's important specifics, important technicals.
Yeah, and like even if reading's harder for you, there's the audiobook form as well, which can be more enjoyable as well.
Yeah, the audiobook. So if you have...
Or do both. Listen to the audiobook and read good language study.
And the graphic novel on top of that, because the pictures help you understand the context.
There you go.
It's all available. Is it my turn?
Yes, Skits 3D.
Skits 3D for $2. Liquid is now explosive and fire is cold.
Oh my! I forgot about fire is cold.
Show.
Rosen's Dragon 2140 for $5. Shad, you have to understand. The water is Mentos and the lava is Pepsi.
Well played. It's that ridiculous. Dragon Lord 1125 for KRW 2000 KRW. Thank you, sir. Wreck-It Ralph made more sense. It did. Wreck-It Ralph made more sense.
Mentos and Pepsi.
As long as it was consistent, you know.
DMEC CZ for 50 CZK. So many things I understand. Maybe she becomes what she's meant to be, a wizard that manages the situation. I'd probably accept it.
Build it up, lead us into it. That came out of nowhere. Suddenly she's just pulling magic out of her rear end.
Yeah.
And from the context of the show, wasn't justified. They didn't foreshadow, build it up, give any indication that she has that ability. Emma Morton for $5 says, if I don't receive the Bikini Shad picture alongside my leather-bound pictures, I'm asking for a refund. What if I wear medieval underwear? Which is just like, an undershirt.
Yeah.
But thank you for the support. I appreciate it.
James Sapp for $10. After watching your fights in Autopsy, I came up with a way to fix it. Turn Rings of Prime off and watch something like Greyhound. Great movie. Check it out if you have not done so already.
Watch something better. Good strategy. Crazy Tiger Person for $5 says, she isn't the only one that survived a room cloud. Chris Pratt also survived one in Fallen Kingdom. I'm assuming she's meaning the Pyroclastic cloud. And look, yeah, unacceptable if, that happens as well, because those things are insanely deadly. Jesse Everin, for $5 Canadian, sends us an emoji. Thank you, sir. It's someone lifting weights. Good on them.
Nice. John Wong for $20 Australian. Thank you for supporting Clownfish TV. I myself have recently finished a graphic novel, awaiting my boss to finalize fundraising plans. Would it be possible to consult Shad for a test read of a book before it goes to print?
I don't have time to read full books. Even all the books that I really want to get to. I'm so busy, and usually when I do have time, it's audiobooks, so I can really turn my brain off and stuff. And so unfortunately, I can't. I just don't have the time to consult like that. And my time is going to be less available because I'm going to be looking at hiring practiced and experienced writers for launching new graphic novels and developing those. I'll be looking at them. And if you want to, if you're interested in doing that, you need to have some experience, show that you've been able to finish work and things. But I'm probably going to be looking at people who've already worked in the industry, honestly. Mike, my artist, has some great contacts. And I'm going to even try and reach out to some serious writers who have done work in comic books but would never be able to work on them anymore because they're cancelled and stuff, but they're still great writers. There's one in particular, I wonder, it would be great if I could work with him. It'd be awesome. Can't say anymore. But thank you for the super chat. Is it my turn?
I think so.
Yeah.
John Doe.
Yes. John Doe for 5 GBP says, I don't have an option for a single leather bound and letter opener. You have to get both for the letter opener. Can't you add the letter opener?
Yes, the letter opener is available as an add-on.
Mm-hmm. So what you do, you find any purchase and you can add the letter opener to any purchase as an option when you continue. That is said somewhere on the campaign page, isn't it?
I believe so. But there is a limited quantity of
There are limited quantities. Get them while you can. But thank you. Oh, your support is awesome. Can't wait to get it to you. You're going to love it. An online college dropout for $9.99 US says, did you guys find it weird? After the battle, everyone was celebrating feasting other than burying and mourning their dead. Yeah, I literally said it. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I found that very weird and out of place.
Or even just the fact that they went to one battle, like, great, we've won the war.
Yeah.
Could have kept going.
Oh my goodness. And I think that brings us
I think that's
all
updated.
Up to date.
Oh, there's one that just came up now.
Yes. Lucky Stars for $10 says, thank you for taking high blood pressure medicine, for suffering through this show. Also remember, the sea is always right. I know. My goodness. Thank you, Lucky Star 2516 for your super chat. I appreciate it. And appreciate you guys. Love you all. Love you joining us. This is a lot of fun. You make it fun by letting us just rant with you, because the joint kind of experience makes it cathartic. Yeah. Because this is rough. This is such an awful show. It's so bad. But there we go. We've come to the end. We appreciate you joining us. And of course, we appreciate you joining us.
We've got one more thing.
What's that?
Next week, Shad.
Yes.
I'm not going to be here.
Nathan,
I'm done with this show. I'm sick of it. That's it. I'm late. No, I'm actually
going to pretend everyone's just dead.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. There's no show next week because they all died at the end.
They're all died in the Pyroclastic show flow at the end. So
No.
I will have to go solo or try and get someone else in.
Get a guest
Maybe
on.
my wife could join me. She joins me in a couple of videos, so it'd be great to have her on board. Who knows?
Yes. But I won't be here because I'm going to PAX Australia in Melbourne for some game stuff. And just for there's lots of plugging with the graphic novel out, but you should all check that out. But as well, in the description, there's a link to my channel.
Nathan has a YouTube channel,
I have a channel.
guys, and he makes awesome videos, game development stuff, all the stuff you're working on.
So if you watch devlogs a lot, if you like game development, then head over there and watch stuff. And next week, maybe I'll be going to PAX, but then a few days after, the videos of the experience there. So lots of cool stuff.
You're going to interview some of the game devs, aren't you? That's going to be awesome.
Every year, I just go there and I just talk to them like. So yeah, if you love games and development of games, then check out the channel.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh, we got two more super chats.
more? Oh.
All right, we'll quickly get them. Skits3D says, Gladra reminds me of a character from the movie Twister. A little bit, but she's more insane and evil.
Unhinged, yeah.
And Matthew Simpson for $10 says, rooting for Sauron in this ridiculous fanfic. Galadriel, bangs Hal Boink, finds out who he is, then yeets herself into Mount Doom. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 ending. Great work, gents. Keep it up. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all. And go check out Nathan's channel. And we'll hope to see you on the next episode. And what do? Well, that's what you do. Stay on watch.